2 in the CFL, the Tiger Cats looking for win number 1 after falling to the Stampeders. They welcome the Roughriders to town, who hope to make it 2-0 against the East. Well, the Tiger Cats coming off their first loss of the season. Scott Milanovich hoping to make some adjustments today. Bo Levi Mitchell with a very nice game, but some of those yards coming when all was said and done. And Chezzy, you mentioned it to me. You need to see more out of Bo tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, he's the catalyst for this team. They made some additions to their defense, which is what they needed. And I don't think their defense did what they were expected to do week 1. Like you said, Kate, some of Bo's yards were late, but I'm not worried about that guy. That guy's going to get it done. I'm concerned with this defense. Hopefully they come out and give the performance that their fan base expected for this new look defense.
And who's going to put pressure on that defense, Davis? This man right here, Trevor Harris. He started the season off on the right foot. Let's hope that he stays healthy with all the injuries piling up this season. But he's looking really good so far. And his favorite target was Sam Amulis last week.
8 of 8.
8 for 8, 133 yards by halftime last week. I thought he was going for 200.
No, it went for 133. He was fantastic. Trevor Harris, though, and here was he was saying, he said, you know what? He thinks the Hamilton Tiger Cats are going to be fired up for this game because, you know what, we're going to be fired up too, and that's what we're expecting in this game. It's a very interesting matchup overall. You said it, Ches. I mean, for Bo Levi Mitchell, I mean, throughout the entire game, he really did look a little bit sluggish, got it going in the end. And we were expecting big things with him and Kenny Lawler, obviously. But on the flip side, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, we were at that game. Yep. It was all 3 phases for that team. Their defense looked fantastic. We know they're dealing with a couple of injuries right now, but on the offensive side, they look fantastic, special teams, and they're looking to put together another full performance tonight.
Yeah, I think their defense was okay. I think they would like to improve a little bit. Drew Brown did have 400 yards passing, so they think they need to see more of their defense as well. But yeah, I think all around that team in Sask, they have the pieces. We know that. Look at that roster, top to bottom. They're loaded. I don't see much weakness there except for the O-line. That was because of injuries. So, look, a lot of people had this team, the Riders, as the team to come out of the West when you look at rosters. And after 1 week, I think they got to feel pretty good. This will be a test today, though, especially on the road. And again, if Drew Brown and the Ottawa team put up 400 and something passing, let's see what happens tonight.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Chaz. That defense, I'm expecting a lot actually of that defense, the defensive line in particular. I want to see how much pressure they can actually put on Bo Levi tonight. I'm looking at the defensive ends. I'm looking at Shane Ray. I'm looking at Mike Davis inside, Mike Rose, inside, putting pressure on Bo Levi Mitchell. If he gets comfortable and starts to get a streak going, like we saw at the end of the season last year, he can get really hot really quickly. And so you don't want to be that first team that Bo Levi is going to start the streak with.
You know what? I think here's the issue, too, that I was looking at. With the Tiger Cats, their front had all kinds of trouble when they were trying to limit yards. I mean, on the ground, they gave up 158, 31 rush attempts. And I get it. Kadeem Cashin carries back in the league now, too, and we haven't even mentioned his name yet. We know Sask likes to run the ball. Obviously, Emerson was fantastic from a receiving standpoint. But you got to think, if you were looking at that tape and you're Sask, you're going to put that ball on the ground a lot tonight.
100%. I'm pretty certain that's going to be a huge part of the game plan tonight, where they're going to hand the ball off. You got Kadeem Carey, you mentioned, Kate. You got A.J. Ouellette, who's back as well. I'm sure they're going to kind of want to see how healthy he is. But if he gets going, why not hand the ball off? But you also have Trevor Harris, who's in good form right now. We just talked about him. And we talked about Sam Amulis at the top of the show. He's the guy that emerged. We knew he was good, but wow, has he been great so far. And first game of the season, he's showing out already, Davis.
Yeah, they can spread it around. That's what you like about Trevor, his ability ability to get it around. They have guys that do different things, and Trevor gets the ball out quick. Back to that Hamilton defense. I just had this for my notes this week. They gave up 11 plays last week of 15 yards or more, Hamilton's defense. So that's the big plays. That's an issue, obviously. I mean, you can't. It hurts. You talk about Bo and his sluggish. Well, if you're giving up that many plays and they're able to move the ball opposite side, I mean, that also takes away from your efficiency offensively and your ability to stay on the field. So I do think they got to tighten that up, and that would be that. I know talking to guys over there, that's a point of concern, and they'll go into tonight trying to slow down the big plays.
I think the tough part too was watching that first half in the first game between Calgary and Hamilton. Stavros Katsatonis, he was fantastic. I mean, that secondary was flying around, but then they really dropped off in the second half. So I think for me personally, it's a little more consistency throughout the game on the defensive side. Yeah,
I absolutely agree. And they have playmakers back there, but there's some new pieces back there. I think they felt good about their additions, but we know this. In this league, your pieces on defense, a lot of it's about communication. So they have the talent back there. Now let's see if these guys can gel, get on the same page. And big plays often happen from communication busts. So I think that's key.
But let's not kid ourselves, especially when we're talking about the Hamilton Tiger Cats, right? There's a lot of teams right now. We look at the Montreal West. They're a defensive-led team. The Toronto Argonauts last year, defensive-led team that won the championship as well. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, they're not a defensive-led team. They have to produce offensively speaking. Bo Levi Mitchell, Kenny Lawler, the big signing this season last week was really subpar. We're looking to see, are they going to be able to get on the same page this week? It's going to be interesting to see for sure.
Well, and we know Bo wants to establish that chemistry with
balance, right?
I know, and you got to work it around too. I mean, you got Tim White there. You have a nice little receiving core, so we'll see what is in the cards for the Tiger Cats tonight. In week 1, it was all about the home teams. 2-1 for the away teams in week 2. We'll get you to Hamilton next.
It's a beautiful Saturday evening in Hamilton as we get set for the 1-0 Riders visiting the 0-1 Ticats to wrap up week 2 in the Canadian Football League. And as a bonus tonight at halftime, we'll have the jersey retirement of the legendary Garney Henley. That should be a great event. On the field tonight, 2 quarterbacks who have great legacies in this league, possibly future Hall of Famers. Likely future Hall of Famers we're going to see tonight. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I really am too. You take a look at Bo Levi Mitchell. If he leads the Ticats to a win tonight, he will become the fastest starting quarterback in CFL history to 100 wins. And speaking of wins, Trevor Harris is riding a 5-game regular season win streak going back to last year, the longest consecutive win streak in his career, which may seem a little surprising with all the success in Ottawa. But as a Rider, he's got a 5-game win streak going in the regular season.
Corey Mace 2-0 versus Hamilton as a head coach. Went 9-8-1 last year. Was -2 in the old turnover ratio department last week, but it did not matter as they picked up the victory at home. And Scott Milanovic, 7-win season last year, 6-6 in his career against the Riders as well. And picture perfect Saturday here. Great way to wrap up the second week. And Milanovic wanting to get his team in the win column here at home. And of course, the victory, as you mentioned, be the 100th of Bo Levi Mitchell's career. Another 300-yard game for him last week to get started. And a pretty good game for Trevor Harris, I thought, as well, in the opening week.
Very good game. Yeah, very good game for Harris. He threw for just shy of 300 yards. A couple of touchdowns to Sam Emelis. Good start and a win at home. Bo Levi Mitchell has a few games to become the fastest starting quarterback to 100. There's a little wiggle room, but we'll look to try and get the Ticats in the win column this season.
Basically what we're saying, unless they have a horrible start to the season, he's going to become the all-time record holder and fastest to 100 wins. We'll get to that as we work our way through the first quarter of the broadcast tonight.
Good friends from back in their Toronto days. Trevor Harris just saying hello to a good friend of his, and Scott Milenovich, and a former coach.
Chatted with both of them this week. A ton of respect between those two guys.
Absolutely.
We asked Trevor about Bo, and he says, oh, hopefully he has to wait another week to get to 100. Sask won the toss, deferred. Hamilton will take the ball. Jonathan Moxey and Isaiah Wooden, who was a game-time decision. He is good to go. Had a 105-yard return touchdown last week as we settle in here in the Hammer for a battle between the Ticats and the Roughriders. Thank you very much for joining us here on TSN. Let's get this bad boy underway, and that'll be hammered away in the direction of Wooden. Takes it at the 20. Back to the 30 before he's touched, and boy, is he touched. He gets absolutely popped at around the 31.
So here he comes. Bo Levi Mitchell looking for that 100th win. And last week in the loss, attempted 50 throws in that game. But we're chasing the Stamps on the scoreboard all game long. And that was part of it. Just 8 carries to their starting tailback, Greg Bell, in that game.
Career high in passing yards last season, his third 5,000-yard campaign. He's throwing here over the middle, down the field. It's a first down just outside the 50. And who else? Kenny Lawler, 13 targets in his debut last week.
Yeah, Kenny Lawler starts motion and then just sits down in the hole. Using that football IQ on this one, not necessarily running through this with speed, just finding that hole. Playing from shoulders up on that play. Get things started.
20-yard pickup on the first play of the game for Mitchell. 4 receivers out to his left. Throws it out to the right. Finds his running back, Greg Bell. Bell with a little bit of room, and he'll take it inside the 50. There's a flag at the end of the play, and C.J. Rivas is saying this is against Hamilton.
And also a question of where the penalty was and at what point. Was it first down gained?
Holding. Hamilton number 64. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And that was before the play and the yards were gained. So that was at the line of scrimmage, and that pushes Hamilton's offense back. 1st and 20.
Nancy, the guilty party. He's your center.
The guy with the ball in his hand. There he goes. Shotgun. Boy, back-to-back good-looking plays, too, to get things started. That penalty makes it an uphill battle in drive 1 for Bo Levi Mitchell here.
1st and 20. 3-man pressure. He's got some time. Dumps it off to Bell again. A little bit of a stumble. Regains. And it's a short pickup on that first down. Let's take a look at the Hamilton offense.
Yeah, leader up front in that offensive line is definitely Brandon Revenberg. He is playing in game 127. That's 127 starts for the veteran Canadian guard. And Tim White, 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons for Tim White, and got off to a bumpy start last year, but he had over 1,000 yards. If that was a bad year, that's pretty good.
3 straight 1,100-yard seasons, or more, obviously. Big hit near sideline as Bo goes back to Greg Bell. That's not enough after the penalty, and it'll be 3rd down and a kicking situation here for the Ticats. Constantino out. Averaged 61 yards per kick last week. Dante Myers, Mario Alford standing back at their 10-yard line for the visitors. Booted away from about the 41. That'll hang up there. Alford slides over, takes it cleanly at the 14. Back to the 21 before he steps out of bounds. We'll get our first look at Trevor Harris, looking to make it 6 wins in a row for the Riders with him at the helm. Let's flash it back to week 1 with Trevor Harris. You kind of always know what you're going to get with Trevor Harris, and he delivered that last week.
Well, you're going to get great accuracy, high completion percentage, which it was, 19 of 26, just shy of 300 yards, and was able to dissect that Ottawa defense.
A.J. Ouellette, who left last week's game, stands in behind his quarterback and gets the first touch of the game, tackled after maybe a gain of a single yard.
A little bit of roster juggling for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. There's Harris numbers versus Ottawa, the 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Both those touchdowns to Sam Emelis. Great start for him to the season, or to this season, and last week, 133 yards receiving.
16th all-time in the CFL in passing yards. Bo Levi 11th. Empty backfield this time for Harris. Gets it away. Has a man at the 35. And it's Keyshawn Johnson, who caught 4 of his 5 targets last week as well.
Need great timing and anticipation. Scott Milanovich, who we showed you, good friends of Trevor Harris. We talked to him about Trevor and facing Harris. He said such a good seam thrower, just has the timing in behind the linebackers, just in front of the deep coverage. Sits down in there. You need great timing and accuracy to make that throw. That's a danger area.
3 receivers, bottom of your screen, wide to the left for Harris. Back into the belly of Ouellette. Line of scrimmage no further as the Ticats defense holds strong against this Riders offense.
So Riders last week had Peyton Collins at left tackle. They now have Daniel Johnson starting out there. They do get Jacob Brammer back. They'll play him at guard. Zach Fry will be the 6th offensive lineman. You mentioned A.J. Ouellette. He got knocked out early in that game, but is back past the protocol. Keon Schaefer-Baker could not make it to this one, so Dale Duncan Busby will get some more reps, as will Deshaun Mims, son of Robert, former Blue Bomber and Rider Robert Mims.
Kadeem Carey also dressed today. Harris connects again, and that should be enough for a Riders first down as he does get into the hands of Duncan Busby.
Motion inside, little bang route to the outside, and move the sticks. Very good training camp for Dell Duncan Busby. Get your opportunity, you can make the most of it.
Out of Bemidji State. Harris has started the game 2 for 2 for 25 yards. Bouncing around the pocket, near side, picked it wide open, gathers the ball, spins up to midfield, and it'll be stopped about 1.5 yards shy of a first down against this Hamilton D.
Yeah, up front, Julian Hauser returns to the Ticats. 4 years with Hamilton, 21 sacks as a Ticat before moving to Calgary. And there's Brandon Dozier, played on a few teams. Last 2 years in Calgary, over 50 defensive tackles per year there, and a great start to the season for Katsatonis at safety. He had 2 picks, only 1 counted, but he had 2 in their opener.
Also arguably a top 5 mustache in the league. Here's Harris, deep shot down the field, bumper grab, picked off at the 25, taken away by Moxie, and Moxie will eventually be tracked down. And Jonathan Moxie is there. Harris is not happy. He laid it out. Katsatonis had come over and made the play. The ball bounces up, and Moxie says, "Don't mind if I do." He takes it away for the Ticats. There's Katsatonis, Moxie, ready and waiting. Ticats ball.
Here's Katsatonis. Look at him on the hash mark here. This is a long way to go to help out his teammate make this play on the deep throw. Katsatonis first directing traffic, points to get his teammates lined up, and he gets from the hash mark all the way outside to the numbers. That's covering a lot of ground to knock that one loose.
Tiger Cats take over on their own 36. Handing it off. Nowhere to go. That'll be a defense steps up big. Here's a look at him.
Yeah, up front, there was one rider in Malik Carney who registered 2 sacks in their opener against Ottawa. Only player to do that in week 1. A.J. Allen will go into the lineup for C.J. Avery in the linebacking core. And Roland Milligan was knocked out of game 1, but during practice went through protocols and good to go tonight.
Greg Bell's been involved in the passing game a little bit. -4 with 1 carry. Just 14 yards last week as well. There's a completion, and that'll be about a yard shy. That'll be spotted at the 45 for Hamilton as he gets it into the hands of Tyler Ternowski, who didn't start last week but does this week with Brandon O'Leary Orange out.
We used to call this formation the elephant formation. Bring in the elephants.
The big boys.
Yeah. Short yardage.
Litre up under center, needs a yard, bobbles the ball, picks it back up, pushes ahead, and he might have got it on the recovery, closer than you would like. We'll have to get a closer look at this, won't we?
Well, did that bounce right back up to very fortunate here? I think that ball hit the ground.
It did.
It bounced right back up in his hands, and that second effort to kind of fall back into the pile got him the first down. Look at that. Bounced right off the ground. He scooped it off the heel of his center. Wow.
Not exactly how you draw it up, but they got the first down. Fresh set here on the 46. Screen out to Tim White. Made one man miss. Now a second. The third guy will wrap him up, and they'll take him down at midfield. A couple yards shy of a first down.
Yeah, so we mentioned he's got a little bit of wiggle room to get to 100 wins. All those years in Calgary, and now the last few weeks. Hamilton, Ron Lancaster did it in 149 starts. And Bo Levi Mitchell is at 142 tonight.
That's an incredible list.
So they would have to go, what, 0-6, 0-7 for him not to be the fastest.
Litre again, short yardage again, and an extra push again as well.
You know, it's interesting, though. We talked to Scott Milenovich, of course, this week, and, you know, he seemed not just confident, but almost overly confident after coming off the loss. I actually asked him that. He seemed very, very confident with your team. He says, yeah, you know, the mistakes we made in week 1, we can correct. Correct those mistakes. Had some drops. Bo missed a couple of throws. You know, defense can get a stop here or there that they didn't get in game 1. Said it's fixable stuff.
Gave up 38 to Calgary in game 1. Here's Bo down the middle, lays one out there, and flags fly as he tries to drop it into Kenny Lawler, and he was tripped up and taken down.
Lawler's by himself to the wide side of the field and is going to go all the way across. This play action gives more time for Bo to set up and throw this
Accidental pass
interference.
Saskatchewan number 26. That's a 10-yard penalty. First down.
Ron Campbell with the accidental pass interference. So it only goes 10 yards instead of spot of the foul.
Yeah, point of foul, yeah. Only 10-yard penalty if it's accidental, and it's exactly what it was, which is just the legs got tangled up between Tavon Campbell.
Not an easy guy to keep track of, though, in Kenny Lawler.
Well, you can be right there, too. Yeah. You know, he reminds me a little of Alan Pitts in that regard. You can be right beside him and in great coverage, and he'll still find a way to catch it.
The work from the Riders 44. Saskatchewan sends 5 out to Litre, and he is taken down immediately. Nice tackle there by Marcus Sales, the veteran corner.
30-year-old Marcus Sales, from all accounts, was one of the best riders in training camp this year. Just do the radio out there every week throughout the offseason, and I kept hearing his name. Another big day for Marcus Sales. Empty backfield next to Bo. 3 receivers to the left.
Now they'll bring Smith in to protect. Now he'll flare out. Mitchell waits, and that's where he goes. He finds Smith. There's a flag as he takes off. He's got the first down. But we'll have to pick up this flag and see if it's coming back.
Holding. Hamilton, number 53. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
That's Brendan Bordner for the Ticats, our left tackle.
He's up there at the left tackle spot. Let's take a look. The timing of this to get to the check down for Bo Levi Mitchell just a little bit longer. That was on Lake Corte Moore, UBC product.
He had a tackle last week, third-year guy. 2nd and 17, so another 2nd and long situation caused by a penalty for the Ticats. Mitchell, time, down the field. Lawler, oh, he gets it. Are you kidding me? Kenny Lawler, you're ridiculous. Climbs the ladder, hauls it in. Ticats in business.
Deep corner route, real accurate throw because Mitchell puts it where only Lawler can get a chance at it. High and outside, and look at him elevate to go and rip this one down. Oh, man, that's a great catch. What a great catch.
27-yard strike.
Look at that vertical.
Lawler goes and gets it. Never afraid to put his body in harm's way. Kenny Lawler. The work from the 24. Mitchell dumps it off. Greg Bell to the 20. He finds some space down inside the 10 before he's tackled there. Sales, among others, denying him a free pass to the end zone.
Now Mitchell's in a real comfort zone, little play action fake, and then swings it out to Greg Bell. That really is an extended run play anyway. So, you know, I know there was a lot of concern with just 8 carries for Greg Bell, but remember, those little swing passes count too.
Bo has started the game 8 of 8 for 97 yards. Now the work from the Rider 9. Mitchell, end zone, wide open, got it! Tim White, touchdown, Ticats! They're on the board first in their home opener.
Oh, nice look off by Bo Levi Mitchell, the veteran. Look at him look over here to try and hold the safety. Just look over before pre-snap. Try to hold the safety in Nelson Lacombo close to the line of scrimmage. Don't let him get the idea that Tim White's going to sneak in from the other slot back position and run that seam to the back of the end zone. Turnover created by the safety. Stavros Katsatonis turns into 7 in the sudden change.
And they overcome that holding penalty earlier in the drive that killed their first possession of the game. This time they get it back. Leggio out for one more, and that is up and through. Kenny Lawler, this is what kept the drive alive. Really got it going as he goes up and hauls it in.
Nice look off by Bo Levi Mitchell, and this is the easy route for Tim White to just run down the seam, throw that right hand up, and let Bo know he's in behind coverage.
Like a bit of confusion there by C.J. Rivas and DeMarcus Fields as Tim White snuck in behind both of them, wide open. Look at the start for Bo Levi Mitchell, 9 of 9, 107 yards and a touchdown here in the first quarter, and now it'll be a chance for the Riders to respond. Leggio boots it away. Alford takes it just inside the 20. Little hesitation. And returned up to about the 35. Here's Trevor Harris. Claire Hanna will have more on Trevor's relationship with Milanovic when we return. Well, we saw Scott Milanovich and Trevor Harris with a quick handshake before the game. The relationship goes back over a decade. For more on that, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Well, Trevor Harris and Scott Milanovich are opponents on the field, friends off of the field, and they were former teammates. Harris and Milanovich met at mini training camp in upstate New York for the Argonauts back in 2012. Harris at that time had a playbook that he wrote on loose leaves. And then fast forward to 10 years later. Well, what's interesting is that when Milanovich was coaching the Colts, Harris wanted to go to a game, so he called him up and said, hey, I'm going to be there. And he said, well, you're staying at my house and you're going to watch the game with my wife and kids. They developed a close relationship, and Harris said it was so refreshing after that game to break it down with Milanovich, hear him vent about it, because one day Harris wants to be a coach. Well, Milanovich, he is currently in awe of Harris's game, telling me it's hard to believe how quick he's getting the ball out of his hands. You can tell he's at the peak of understanding defenses, guys.
He does move that ball quickly, doesn't he?
Yeah, and talked about that seam throw.
Back on the ground, Ouellette finds a hole, and he finds a first down, a little bit more, too. Look at that. He'll not be stopped, almost all the way up to midfield for A.J. Ouellette.
Yeah, excellent patience for Ouellette. The O-line is just basically blocking down. And Ouellette's just going to take it the opposite with patience. Watch him the O-line just pick up a man to their right of the formation. Ouellette's going to just wait, take the ball here, patience, and then hit it. Just let it develop. He did, and then broke a couple of tackles.
Creeping towards midfield. Ticats bring some heat. Harris got it away. Myers slid underneath it, working against Peters. And it'll be a loss on the reception of about 3 yards.
What a play by Jamal Peters. Peters was so quick to make this play, read it, that he beat the block. There's two receivers coming out to try and set up a block on Jamal Peters, who was covering Myers at the time. Got to get that first block at the point of attack. They couldn't get there because he read it so quickly.
Second and long for the visitors. Harris down the field, and that falls incomplete. Not sure if it was deflected at the line.
Yeah, it almost looked like it was tipped.
Bit of a wobble, it looked like, as it ended up falling incomplete.
The wind is swirling here in Hamilton, but that one kind of died. It looked like it's a deep curl route there. It looked like it may have been tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Coach drops it just inside the 15. Near side for Wooden. Finds a little bit of space and then steps out of bounds just beyond the 30. And a quick first quarter is in the books. And it's the Ticats looking for a win in their home opener. Bo Levi Mitchell to Tim White. They lead 7-0. Welcome back to the Hammer. Ticats lead 7-0. 107 passing yards in the first quarter for Bo Levi Mitchell, and some of them spectacular to Kenny Lawler.
Yeah, they're going to want to bump up those rushing yards, but Kenny Lawler, what a catch. I mean, your best vertical jump. What was yours? Best vertical jump.
This much.
Yeah, okay, I was thinking credit card for me, but yeah, I mean, he climbs the ladder. How many times have we seen Kenny Lawler make catches like that? And, I mean, that's going to Sports Center. He is elevated to bring that down. And remember, there was a penalty before that put them in second and long, and that kept the drive alive and ended in the 7 Points on the board. But yet another highlight catch by Kenny Lawler.
That one was for 27. He's got 47 on 2. And Bo Levi Mitchell goes back to work with a 7-0 lead. This time on the ground, Greg Bell right up the middle. And that'll really open up the passing game even more as they pick up pretty good yardage on first down.
Highlight catches, and you know, he's put up big numbers, Kenny Lawler, when you consider that he hasn't really completed a full season. in any of the years that he's played.
Since his rookie season, he's not played more than 13 games in any year. And we said he's willing to put his body into any situation, right?
Exactly.
He's been banged up along the way, but when he is healthy and he is on, he is spectacular. Down the field again as Mitchell continues to cook here in the first half. This time he drops it in. Keandre Smith. That's a big one.
Yeah, and you know, the comfort level for Bo Levi Mitchell now, the Corey Mason, this Rider defense, going to have to figure out some pressure packages, whether it means exotic blitzing or maybe just some stunts up front. But right now, Bo Levi Mitchell is in his comfort zone.
25 more yards to Smith. 1st and 10 from the Rider 47. Back out to his running back, Bell. And he'll pick up about 3 yards on first down. That's his team leading 4th catch of the ball game.
And I was going to say that, you know, we showed you -2 yards rushing for Hamilton in the first quarter. But those plays right there, he's had 4 of those. And you add those yards up because that's just an extended run in Canadian football.
Well, last week he had 8 carries for 14 yards, but he had 6 catches on 7 targets for 32. So another way to get him involved for sure. And now that's Bell, who slides down a bit near the top of your screen. 3 to the left, 3 to the right, and whistles and a flag. Before Bo snapped this. And he says that's on him. That'll back him up.
Delay a game, pardon me. Time count, 5-yard penalty, 1st down. 2nd down.
2nd and 12. Ticats facing this situation a few times already in the game. Kenny Lawler to the top. Tim White in the slot down to the left here for Bo Levi. High snap, hauls it in. Some pressure coming. He's in trouble, and he is taken down right down Main Street. Jameer Thurman causing all types of issues for Mitchell.
Greg Bell got a little bit out of the formation. See how wide he is, and he's looking in this direction because he's the guy that's going to have to pick up this stunt from Jameer Thurman. They're not sending more than they can block, but Greg Bell just runs right by it because he has a bad angle from being too far to the right of Bo Levi Mitchell in that play.
Constantinu, 3rd and 21. Lets it fly. Alford waits. Now he takes at the 11. Small hole closes quickly. And he is wrapped up by Turnowski. Jameer Thurman with his 2nd sack in as many games to start the season. The Ticats have the shirts, Team Ted, but I think it's safe to say the entire league is on Team Ted right now, Suits.
Yeah, we wish Ted Gavaya the speedy recovery and battling cancer right now, and I know his entire team, he's the architect of this roster. Brought guys like Kenny Lawler with him from Winnipeg all the time he spent over there. So we wish the best in the speedy recovery for Ted Gavaya and his family to get past this, move on, and get back at it.
Has to like what he sees being in attendance tonight. His Ticats leading 7-0. Harris, far side, gets it into the hands of Emelis. Never a bad idea. And that's a 1st down for Emelis. And a late flag at the end of the play.
I wonder if this is a taunting call. It looked like it was maybe something that was set. Nice block at the point of attack there, and well, you've got to be careful with a slap too, because there's a new rule change this year that if you get in a scrum and you take a swing,
15-yard misconduct foul. Saskatchewan, number 19. Ooh. 1st down.
Emelis with that backhand tap to the face mask of Katsatonis. And That's a big one. That'll back them up.
Well, the idea here is to eliminate any of the scrums and the pushing back and forth and the guys that take a shot, whether it's a slap or an open hand or backhand or whatever.
So 1st and 10 now from the Rider 15 instead. A.J. Ouellette, pretty good burst, pushes it ahead. And that'll get him close to a first down.
They did put Kadeem Carey on the roster just in case, because we mentioned A.J. Ouellette last week. Out fairly early in that game, did not return. Thomas Bertrand-Hudon had a great game. He was injured in practice this week.
Yeah, if anybody's wondering where he is.
Yeah, so Kadeem Carey is on the roster, but would have limited access to the playbook in that short of a time.
Tommy Stevens' time, and he usually gets the job done, and he does right there. That'll be a first down for the Riders.
But, you picked up a guy. I mean, the Saskatchewan Roughriders pick up a guy in Kadeem Carey that was on the championship team last year. Think about his 1,000-yard season in 18 games. Great pickup. And when we did the Winnipeg game, and Brady Oliveira, who they're saying now may be out for a few games, he was on the practice roster in Saskatchewan. He could be plucked off the practice roster if you leave him there. So I'm wondering whether or not Bertrand-Hudon could play tonight or not, that they would have put Kadeem Carey on the roster just to protect
the asset. Kadeem Carey averages 5.7 yards per carry in his career. That's what he's done since 2022.
At least by the Argos, they wanted to go younger. But I think Kadeem Carey, I've heard this narrative that Carey is getting old. I think he's got tons of football left in him.
Well, now he's got some extra motivation as well. Here's Harris, gets it away, and waiting for it and getting there, getting underneath it a little bit is Mitch Picton.
So Keon Schaefer-Baker out. That means Mitch Picton moves into his spot, basically. Now they're going to move. They move their receivers around a ton. Lots of change motion, things like that. But a couple of choices here for Trevor Harris. He could have run for the first down there, or get it out there to Picton. Low throw, but used his hands anyway.
Harris with Kadeem Carey in behind him here. And they give it to him, pushing it ahead. Pretty good first scamper up the middle for Kadeem Carey. And that'll be a second and very manageable situation for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, he showed a little bit of that motivation you talked about, didn't he? Just, even to break a couple of tackles at the line of scrimmage, Carey saying, another opportunity, I want to make the most of it.
All of a sudden, you got a pretty good 1-2 punch running back.
Oh, yeah. And he can catch it, too. About 25 catches per year for Kadeem Carey out of the backfield.
Yeah, 37 last year. Harris dumps it off, and that'll be pushed ahead. Morgan Runge of the University of Alberta with his first Canadian Football League reception.
Right to the marker, so they'll get a new set of downs. Yeah, and Kadeem Carey, I think, was out there right close to him. I'm wondering how much of the playbook Carey could have down right now, because probably two backs in one spot isn't ideal.
Riders will work from their own 53. Harris looks down the field, lays it out there, defended well, tried to gun it into Emelis, but Moxie in his back pocket all the way.
A couple veteran corners in Jonathan Moxie on one side, 4 years out of Boise State. Second year in Hamilton, a couple interceptions last season, and Jamal Peters on the other side.
Emelis has been targeted 4 times so far in the game, has just 1 catch. 2nd and 10. He's one of 4 receivers to the right for Harris. Dumps it off over the middle. Kadeem Carey gets popped. And he's just shy of another Rider first down. And Tommy Stevens immediately trots onto the field.
The other thing that Kadeem Carey brings is just his enthusiasm. It's infectious how he plays. He wants to get some space there to get that little screen pass. He'll jump up. He's always smiling. His teammates love him. Mark Mueller trying to get him involved early. Why not? He's on the roster. He's dressed. He's another weapon.
Yeah, another little toy to play with. Nothing little about this guy, Tommy Stevens. Pushes it ahead and has the first down. I thought he was going to bounce off of that for a second with a little bit of space, but Harris will come back out. Harris is 8 of 11 for 69 yards, and of course that interception.
Yeah, but an interception that he threw very well. I mean, that ball was out there to Sam Emelis, and it was just a play by Katsatonis through the middle that made that play. He covered a ton of ground. And the timing on the hit, perfect. The ball bounces up to Jamal Peters. That was the turnover.
Harris, 8 completions to 7 different receivers so far. This time he'll tuck it in the belly of Ouellette. 3 yards, 2.5, 3 yards. Tackle made by Hauser.
Big down here for the Hamilton defense. Get a stop here. You're forcing Corey Mays to make a tough decision. Not sure how the wind is swirling down there on field level, but if you don't get another inch here, it's a long field goal attempt.
Harris dumps it off. Ouellette's got it. Can't hang on, though. Tackle made by Wilson. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Led the team last year with 97 tackles, Kyle Wilson. He played that very well. Back out of the backfield. Now Corey Mace got that decision.
Well, Lawther's out there.
I mean, Lawther's, it's well within his range, but as I mentioned earlier, when we walked out before the game, that wind was really swirling. Looks like it may be behind him right now, according to the right uprights.
The right uprights are blowing with the wind at his back. The other ones aren't moving at all, so.
Yeah, a little tricky from this far.
He's made 23 straight. This one's from 51. Right hash, that is up, and that is wide right. Brought away by Wooden.
That's how big that Kyle Wilson play was on the knockdown.
Forced him to kick the 51-yarder.
A little too far out.
Missed it. Welcome back. Welcome everybody joining us on TSN 4, CBS Sports Network, CTV. You got here just in time for this.
Yeah, Corey Mace catching a touchdown from Bo Levi Mitchell in Calgary. Now, this was as a quarterback, from the quarterback position, Bo Levi Mitchell's very first touchdown throw. He did one out of the special teams earlier than that in the year. But Corey Mace, how about the dancing?
Well,
we've talked to Corey Mace a lot. I've never asked him about his dancing prowess.
The only time we see that again is if they win a Grey Cup. Like, I don't think we'd ever see that for any other reason. How about those moves? White from Mitchell. 3rd catch of the game for Tim White. Had that touchdown earlier. Tim White had 8 touchdowns in 2022. He had 8 touchdowns in 2023, and he had 8 touchdowns in 2024. About as consistent as you can get from a production perspective.
Those first 2 years was the team's nominee for MOP.
Hamilton will need 6 more here to jumpstart this drive. Mitchell sensing the pressure, trying to escape, gets it away, and got some hands on it, but it falls incomplete.
Trying to go through his progressions here. Remember when Thurman went on the blitz? This time he kind of shows like he might, and then he doesn't. It was a stunt from the other side from Malik Carney that started the pressure and the issues for Mitchell.
Bowitt started this game 12 of 12 for 139 yards. That's his first incompletion.
Should be good field position here with Mario Alford back.
Alford paces around his own 40. Constantinu waits.
Unsung hero, by the way, of win one for the Riders against Ottawa. I thought his returns after a little Ottawa momentum were really important in that win.
Gave them some great field position. Takes this at the 41. Trying to kick it out. He's in trouble. Can he escape? He does. Mario Alford to the 50. Now he'll get to midfield. And how about that effort from Mario Alford? And it looked like he might actually take a loss. He ends up giving them excellent field position once again.
Well, by the body position of his blockers, it looked like that was a short side return, and he was going to break it and go to the field. And then he said, oh, no, I'll go back to the short side because that's where my block can set up and pick up 25 or whatever.
Well, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for MLS, 133 yards last week. But what else can he do? For more on that, let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Yeah, and well, Corey May said based on his week one performance, he wouldn't be surprised if he gets 1,400 receiving yards this season. But it's not his catching that impresses Mace the most, it's his blocking. In fact, in week one for the Riders' 2 rushing touchdowns, MLS was mauling guys, including Adarius Pickett. And MLS says his focus on blocking, it started in college. It was his way of getting on the field. He liked being able to put his hands on guys legally. And MLS told me, you're only going to touch the football 5 or 6 times a game as a receiver. So what are you going to do the other 60 plays? Guys.
Underrated part of the game, isn't it, Suits?
Well, it is.
Here goes A.J. Ouellette. How about this?
Look at this.
He's going to get down to the 20, looking for a stiff arm, gets away. Touchdown, A.J. Ouellette. House call for the Riders. Get out of his way. He was not going to be stopped. Saskatchewan's on the board.
I was about to say running backs need to block too. A.J. Ouellette got the ball in his hands here, but yeah, receivers, running backs, you have a great team when they're doing the extra stuff. Blocking to protect their quarterback if you're a tailback, or blocking to get your running back into the end zone. And the receivers downfield have to get it done for this type of play to happen. If they get a block downfield, the DBs can't make that last gasp tackle before the running back gets there. So A.J. Ouellette ties this up, or a single point to tie it.
47-yard scamper from A.J. Ouellette. Lawther misses it.
Okay.
Hammered it wide, and it will remain 7-6. A field goal, and now an extra point missed by Brett Lawther.
This is what I'm talking about on the touchdown. Watch Picton here. A.J. Ouellette's going to get this. Picton gets a big block right there. He gets that block. That opens up the hole for A.J. Ouellette. Now let's take a look at Keyshawn Johnson down number 3 to the right of your screen. Keep rolling, guys. Here he goes. He's got a block right there with the DB. Make sure he doesn't get involved in the tackle. Ouellette stiff arms the last one, and away he goes. So that's how important blocking is, even on a running play. It turns maybe a 10-yarder into a touchdown. And I'm going to apologize to Rider fans. I clearly jinxed Brett Lawther when I called that it was a tie game and 7-all before he had kicked the
I'm glad you admit to it. I didn't want to say anything. But great field position again, yeah, for the Riders there, and then just one play to strike, and all of a sudden we got a nice little ball game shaping up here, and the Hammer wouldn't try to kick it to the outside. They'll track him down and eventually take him down. Jaden Dahlke with the special teams tackle. Bo Levi, just one incompletion so far in this ball game.
But the pressure in the last 2 series, one from Jameer Thurman on a stunt up front, where he was added into the rush, and that last one from Malik Carney. That's moving the pocket at the very least.
Mitchell, time here. Smith takes it near sideline. wrapped up by DeMarcus Fields, and that takes us inside 3 minutes in Hamilton on a Saturday night. Ticats lead 7-6 on TSN.
So much to pack in at the half. AJ is back. Bo Levi Mitchell looking great in the first half. Stavros Katsatonis for the second straight week, getting a little love at halftime. And I don't know about you guys, I would roll the Kenny Lawler catch 15 times over and over.
Can't get enough.
And over and over.
Got bounce.
Seems a little excessive, but I'd probably watch it 15 times if they decided to do it. AJ Ouellette right there, longest run of his career, 47 yards on that touchdown. So he looks okay for a guy who had to leave last week's game. Mitchell gets this one away, who almost picked off. Marcus Sales tried to slide underneath that one, and that'll be 3rd and 5. And Constantino will have to kick it away here late in the first half.
Quick 2-0, a chance for Saskatchewan to put a quick drive together, put some points on the board, and possibly take the lead here at halftime.
Alford this time stands in between his 30 and his 25. Constantino gets it away. A bit of a shorter kick here. Alford's going to be able to run up underneath it. But he'll have nowhere to go. Takes it just inside the 40 and steps out of bounds.
He's made some big runs, but didn't know that this one, I knew this was one of his biggest as a Canadian Football League tailback, and turns out his longest run. Look at the stiff arm at the end. Get out of here.
I liked how he saw him coming and he got that arm ready. He's like, come on, come on.
Deshaun Amos, get out of here, Deshaun Amos. There's Andrew Harris over there, former teammate, now coaching Ouellette. Tailback room, longest run of his career.
Kadeem Carey back in the game, and he breaks a few tackles. Where did he come from? Looked like they were going to stop him, and he's got a first down.
Toronto.
That's where he came from, yeah.
He came from Toronto. Yeah. And this is the effort that is infectious. This is the effort that gets your teammates. And I don't care if you're a defensive player or a special teams guy and you're sitting on the sideline watching this, you're going, I love it. I love it. He's not going down.
Sales eventually tracked him down. Harris throwing now. Gets it to Emilus. A little bit of a slip, and Katsatonis is right there to make sure he had no space after the catch.
Great start to the season for Katsatonis. We had a nice conversation with him. 4th round pick back in 2020, 36th overall. The Ticats nominee a couple of years ago for Outstanding Canadian. And he's just got a nose for the football. He's got better every year. Let those instincts kick in. You saw the play earlier in this game, and that one, he's covered a lot of ground again.
2nd and 9, pressure from the Ticats. Harris steps up in the pocket, and that is incomplete. Picton was over there, but saw it fly over his head, and that'll bring up 3rd down, and they'll have to kick it away with just under 90 seconds to play.
I think Trevor Harris just felt that pressure in the pocket and changed his arm angle because he had an open receiver. Picton was open out there.
Coach from the 45. Drops it in on the far sideline. Taken out by Wooden. Bo Levi started 12 at 12. A little bit of time here to work. Maybe get them into field goal range before the end of the half. Greg Bell has just 2 carries in the game. He's been involved in the passing game. Stands to the left of his running back. Now they'll give him the ball on a bit of a drive. He's got some space up the middle. Makes a man miss and gets taken down at the 40.
Coulter Woodmansey, the the center. He's going to time up this screen and watch his block, number 64 on the O-line. He sets up the screen, 5 count, and he comes up and just steamrolls over with Tim White in assistant over Jameer Thurman.
Saskatchewan heavily out-rushing the Ticats so far. DeAndre Smith looks to spin it back, but he is wrapped up. Thurman is there, gets help from the halfback to Marcus Fields.
Yeah, last 3 series for the Ticats, Scott Malenovich, they've got themselves in second and long, and second and long, the Riders have come up with a stunt up front. Not exotic blitzing just yet, but get their linebackers involved. Jameer Thurman has blitzed a couple of times. A.J. Allen, of course, playing for C.J. Avery in this game tonight. You know who loved when he played the play of a free safety that could go from hash
Timer,
mark
please reset the game clock to 48 seconds.
to sideline? Davis Sanchez. Because what a corner can do then is start to shade a receiver, knowing that he's got that safety help inside. So play the outside shoulder hard. You can jump a quick out. You can jump and stay in great position on a corner route. You can come underneath on a curl route. And if he does run post and go deep, that's where your safety sits. So Katsatonis helping his corners. Davis Sanchez would have loved that back in the day.
DeAndre Smith seems to be okay. He's got 3 catches for 30 yards in this game. 2nd and 10 here for Mitchell. Looks to the right, throws to the right, has a man wide open down inside the 50. That is Tyler Ternowski.
That's big. That's a big catch for Tyler Ternowski. Doesn't get a lot of looks, but he is the open guy in the zone. And real quick recognition from Bo Levi Mitchell. That ball's out of his hands just before he turns around. And first down from field goal.
Mitchell throwing again, and that one broken up. Lawler there working against Sales. And did they just blow it down now? We'll have to get the official ruling on this. The officials are going to come together and discuss exactly what happened here.
Well, did the ball touch the ground?
It would be an incomplete pass, though, right? Didn't it touch the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah, it touched the ground right there. Yeah, it would be an incomplete
It touched the
The
ground.
ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
It touched the
Second
ground.
down. Timer, please reset the game clock to 27 seconds.
It touched the ground before Sales was ripping at it.
Yeah, and then it touched, I mean, then after, it was picked up after like it was a fumble, but definitely wasn't that. So incomplete pass as we expected, and that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
So it's the other direction, but this is important even to get 5 here in a field goal attempt.
Riders just send 4. That's dumped off.
They didn't get it, and because if it's
Shamar Bridges looking a bit confused on that one. Not sure he knew the ball was coming. So that ball remains at the Rider 47. And they'll kick it away. Constantino stands just inside his own 50.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's almost too far. They needed 4 yards. This is about the same distance that Lowther tried it and missed.
Yeah, well, this would be about a 54-yarder, yeah.
Going the other direction, but same risk. So Scott Malenovich is not going to even mess with it. He's punting it.
Lagio's career high is 55, so that would have been bordering maybe on the edge of his range. Constantino kicks this way out of bounds on the far sideline, and
It's a penalty.
flag will come out there. Definitely would like that one back.
He needed another 5-6 yards to avoid the penalty flag there.
Illegal kick out of bounds. Hamilton, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So the Riders will take over on their own 39 after the illegal kick. 17 seconds. Trevor Harris, 3 receivers to his wide side right. Gets it away. That'll be a first down, and diving ahead is Keyshawn Johnson. Just shy of midfield. 12 seconds left, Suits. What do they got time for?
Possible for 2 plays. You get one about 15, quick out, go down, though. You got to go down immediately if you catch it.
Clock ticks at 10. Harris gets it away quickly again, and that is caught just outside the 40.
There comes Lowther.
And Lowther will have a chance at some redemption here after the catch
to 4 seconds
by Duncan Busby. His career high, 57. Maybe a slight wind at his back.
Please reset the game clock to 4 seconds.
Well, I was going to say it was so close that Scott Milanovic decided not to kick the field goal, but it was going the opposite direction, so it must be in their face going that way. And this is at the back of Brett Lowther going this way.
Missed earlier from close to the same range. That was from the right hash. This is from the left side. Lowther to end the half with some points, and that is wide again. It's not even close. It's going to be taken away by Wooden, and he'll bring it out. Stops short of the 10. A late flag comes out on the play there, and a tough first half for Brett Lowther. Some deep shots there, but
Can't end the half with a flag. With a penalty, so to sort this out.
Milanovic will have an option here.
Well, he was asking if they could apply the penalty to the second half, because it sounds like it might be a major.
Face mask, Saskatchewan number 47. It's a 15-yard penalty applied on the kickoff of the next half.
All right, so there we go. 15 yards applied on the kickoff to start the second half. We got a pretty tight football game here. Kenny Lawler, the highlight of the opening half. 27-yard strike from Bo Levi. Just another day at the office for Kenny Lawler. He stands by with Claire Hanna.
Well, Kenny, I feel like you touched 14 feet on that play from Bo Levi Mitchell. How did you catch that ball?
I just had a feeling he was going to throw it to me. It was second and long. And when I looked back, he did. And it was just, and the ball's in the air, just got to go up there and make a play. So just leaped up as high as I can and came down with it.
It's a tight game, 1-point game. Your first year also playing with Bo Levi Mitchell. What's the feeling right now on the field?
The feeling right now is just execution. We got to go out there and execute. For our offense, we just got to go out there, believe in one another, know our assignment, and it'll handle itself, I really believe. So, just coming out next half, just got to come out here and execute.
Kenny, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to the panel and Kate.
There we saw that highlight once, and now let's roll it 15 more times as promised, alongside Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez. You know what? I love the CFL on TSN crew, and I want to give a shout out to Dustin Nielsen and Glenn Suter. They may have had the exchange of the season so far.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Dusty calls the run. Where did Kadeem Carey come from? Toronto. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. Bo Levi Mitchell. Look, we said that he had a really nice game against the Calgary Stampeders, but a lot of those stats were inflated because of the end of the game and it was already over. But this first half, he is putting on a clinic, Enoch. 167 yards. He's got the 1 TD. We see the connection with Kenny Lawler right now. I mean, you got to love this as a Ticat fan.
Him and Scott Milanovic are still trying to find their rhythm. And but he knows exactly what he has in Kenny Lawler. The good thing about this league is you know each other so well, so he's probably seen Kenny Lawler do these type of catches multiple times, and now he's just happy to have him on his team. And this is the first time that we get to see this magnificent catch by Kenny Lawler, but I'm pretty sure and certain that he's done this multiple times at practice. This is why he tries to throw the ball so often. And so what I'm happy to see, though, is him spreading the ball to the other receivers as well. You saw Keandre Smith get involved, Tim White get a touchdown as well, Greg Bell get involved in the passing game as well as on the ground. And so when this team figures out the balance, they're going to be dangerous.
Looking on the defensive side for these Hamilton Tiger Cats, I love what I've seen from Stavros Katsantonis. Since I watched him come out of the draft, I loved him. Just an instinctual football player. I don't know how he lasted to the 4th round, but you look at his speed? I mean, he's a guy that he covers so much ground. You heard Glenn talk about his speed. He runs a 4.71, so it's not his speed. Maybe it's his length. That's why he's making so many plays. No, he's 5'9". You know what it is? He's a football player. He's got great instincts. You watch this play, is 2nd down and 1, and Katsantonis is playing free safety. Jonathan Moxie. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You're good, but you also got really lucky. 2nd and 1. Don't jump out route on 2nd and 1. Get ready for it. They call these shot plays on 2nd and 1, throwaway down. Katsantonis breaks from the middle of the field, covers all that ground. Moxie jumps to out. Katsantonis comes in, making a play in the football, and Moxie gets the interception.
That's good range.
But yeah, that's great range for a guy. And you see him all around the field making plays. It's consistently. Here's Moxie. They built this team with trying to get veterans in the secondary, trying to revamp this defense, and they built it with guys like Moxie, who plays instinctual. He's a vet, plays off the ball. You see him break on that, but Stavros, he's the key out there. He's the guy that it all runs through. Playmaker, instinctual, I love it.
As good as they've been, this is just a 1-point game, and Sask really started picking up the momentum a little bit in the 2nd quarter there. AJ Ouellette, I mean, last week we were there in Regina, and look, we talked about this in the earlier game. We're tired of seeing stars go down to injuries so early in this season. It ended up being a head injury, but when we saw that he was back in this game, we thought, thank goodness, because we need guys like AJ in the league. And then he rattles off that 47-yard run, and I think we were all shocked to find out that that was the longest run of his career. He's got 81 so far in the half, and my goodness, if you're going to come back into a football game, to do something like that was so impressive.
And leave it to AJ, right, to get an injury 1 week and back and starts impressing everybody again. I mean, this is what we're expecting out of him, right? He went into the offseason, had the whole transformation, and he was focused, he was locked in, and he comes back last week. I was talking to him, he said, Enoch, man, get excited, get ready, get your popcorn ready, because it's going to be an exciting one. Obviously, he goes down. I talked to Andrew Harris on the field last week when we were in Saskatchewan as well. He's saying, Enoch, you're going to see a change, because we're talking about just that, right? If you're going to make a change with your body physically, how are you going to change on the field as well? And that's already tough, right? Mentally speaking, how can you change your game if you've always been a guy who likes the physicality and the contact? If you lose weight, how are you going to adapt your game? And so Andrew Harris was telling me his game is going to change a little bit. And you saw a little bit of that on that run right there. Great vision, great change of direction. He didn't invite contact like he's used to doing. He avoided a little bit. And obviously, it's doing him some good. And 47 yards, the longest he's ever had as far as
because he's usually looking to run into people. That's why. But
he
now he's not.
He loves it.
Andrew made the point. I talked to him before the game last week. Andrew made the point of talking to AJ about not necessarily tensing up when it comes to point of contact, almost getting loose and able to absorb some contact. But I'm talking about this team and the Riders offensively, their weapons. They have what I love about them and why you'd be excited. They're not at their peak yet, but they have guys that do different things. Myers is a speed guy. Schaefer Baker is a taller, longer guy. You got Emilus that works the middle of the field with the power. You have Alford, obviously, in the return game who has the ability to bust plays. But they have guys that do a bunch of different things, and then the general back there, Trevor. So there's reason to be excited because they got a bunch of different, maybe not the one superstar, and Emilus is definitely getting there, but a bunch of guys that do a bunch of different things, and that's what you need on the offense. I love it.
More lethal receiving corps, Saskatchewan or Hamilton?
Ooh, Hamilton. Hamilton, come on.
I said
Hamilton.
They're all around.
And
they're
you know
nice,
what's
but
great?
too much talent.
Just one more time. You know what? I wanted it 15 times, but let's just watch this one more. I mean, how many feet do you think he goes in the air? Like, when we saw this live, we thought it was incredible, but then the replay? I mean, he is
Look at that air.
Look at this.
Give me that.
You got lost.
Man.
That was fantastic.
Big time.
All right. No, it's not straight fire yet. We're getting yelled in our ear right now. It's going to, you know what? No, it has to be plays from home. But if someone submits it from home, then maybe we can put it in as a straight fire.
Okay.
I'm sure
Kenny Lawler doesn't leave it on straight fire? Okay.
We could do an entire straight fire of Kenny Lawler. Who are we kidding? We got a 1-point game. We got all the highlights from week number 2 coming up right after this. As promised, promised a recap of week number 2. Thursday's game, Lions taking on the Blue Bombers early in the first. Brady Oliveira finds the hole. Brady takes it 43 yards. Eventually is brought down. However, the reigning MOP would leave the game with a shoulder injury. Matthew Peterson would step in for him, and the rookie would absolutely shine. Second quarter, Bombers up by 7. Peterson breaks through. 38-yard touchdown. The Canadian finished with 130 yards on 23 carries in his league debut as the Bombers open their season.
Running back controversy.
Okay, Davis. Friday Night Football, Red Blacks were hosting the Alouettes. Fourth quarter action. Al's up by 11. Matthew Schiltz. Pass takes a deflection, ends up in Wesley Sutton's hands where he takes it all the way for a pick 6. Tough night for Schiltz. One of the 3 turnovers for the Als defense. Montreal wins their 11th straight at TD Place. 39-18 the final.
Holy shit.
It was still off. Oh my goodness. Earlier today, Stampeders faced the Argonauts. Second quarter action, 2-point game. Nick Arbuckle picked off by Adrian Green. Takes it 40 yards the other way to the house. Green, who had 2 interceptions all of last year, had 2 picks in this one. Yeah, it was that kind of night for Arbuckle. Late in the fourth, Stamps up by 10. Vernon Adams shot to Jalen Philpott for the spectacular grab. The Stamps win, and they move to 2-0 on the season. Look, we know that you have a lot of opinions out there, a lot of armchair quarterbacks when it comes to the CFL, but we really only care about one person's opinion who has been watching these games today, and that is the one and only Milt Stiegel. And this is what he said about the first half of the Argos and Stamps game. Hot garbage.
Of course, the offensive receiver wants to see a lot of points scored.
Oh, it's, you know what? This is perfect, and we miss you, Milt. That was perfect analogy. Perfect. Let's go back to the Argonauts for a minute and watching that game. And look, you saw the highlights. We watched the entire first half of this, and I must agree with Milt on this one because it really starts with Nick Arbuckle, and my goodness, they need Chad Kelly back.
Yeah, I mean, you have a MOP caliber quarterback in Chad, and so it's to be expected. And we always go to the, you know, this man won a Grey Cup, so let's give him his respect. He's a proven vet in this league, but he's a guy that's kind of learned to navigate games. And you look at the quarterback play, we know this is maybe the best year of quarterback depth that we've had in quite some time. So, you know, the fact that you're going up against all these high-power offenses and guys making plays, you got to make some plays. I just wanted Nick to maybe take some more shots, be a little more aggressive.
I'm interested to see how much patience Ryan Dinwiddie is going to have, because this is a very intricate predicament that they find themselves in with regards to Chad Kelly. It's like, man, like, we need him back. We want him on the field, but you can't rush an injury like that, especially if it's going to hinder him if he gets back on the field. Because what do we know about Chad Kelly? He can get out and extend plays on the field. And if he comes back and he can't do that, is it really worth it to aggravate an injury and then down the road come back and get hurt again down the road? So it's going to be intricate. It's going to be interesting.
You can't wait too long.
You can't wait too long, but you also can't rush.
Did you say intricate predicament?
It is an intricate predicament they find themselves in.
By the way, I can't believe we haven't talked about this. Garney Henley, the legend himself, number 26, being retired in Hamilton. You love to see this.
Welcome back to Hamilton, where the Ticats lead the Riders 7-6 as we get set for the second half. 106 rushing yards for the Riders, 81 of those with A.J. Ouellette. He stands by with Claire.
AJ, did you know that 47-yard touchdown run for you was the longest run of your career? How'd you get it done?
Just great blocking. Press the double team, bring everybody to them, and hit the open field. Great blocking by the receivers, which is why we got the big run there.
Given that we saw you leave the game halfway through week 1, how grateful are you to be back on the field this week?
It feels great. Body's feeling good. Guys encouraging me all week, stay healthy, protect yourself, and, ball out today.
Thanks, AJ.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's safe to say he is balling out today. 81 yards in the first half on just 7 carries.
Off to a good start. Hasn't had a registered 100-yard game as a Rough Rider just yet. On the brink of that tonight.
2 in his career, both with the Argos. He needs 19 more yards to hit that tonight. Kadeem Carey, who's dressed tonight as well for the first time as a Rider. 2 carries for 21 yards and a catch for 9 yards. So he had 30 yards of offense in the first half as well. 15-yard penalty for a face mask at the end of the first half is why we will see this ball get kicked from the 45 of the Ticats. And Leggio gets us started in the second half on a Saturday night in the Hammer. Mario Alford takes it at the 5, back to the 20, stays on his feet. Nice return, takes it outside the 30, and that is where Trevor Harris and the Riders will go to work.
You know, it's not a spectacular run from Mario Alford there, but I'll tell you what, it's an important one to get them back to where they would be without that penalty. This is the first half for Trevor Harris. Looks sharp at times. And keep in mind, if you're a Rider fan, 2 missed field goals, that's 6 points that should have been on the board, although one was a long one with the wind swirling. It wasn't an easy kick. And 1 missed single point, so that's 7 points lost in that first half by the Riders.
Spread it around, 11 completions to 7 different players in the first half for Trevor Harris. We've got an injured Ticat on the return. Daniel Bell is what we're being told. And they work on his right leg and groin areas. Milanovic looking to have a 1-1 start after dropping the opener on the road last week. Been with the organization for a couple of years now. Head coach last year and again this year. And looks like they have that arm being held as well, his left arm. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's like it was hit by his teammate as they were both trying to make the tackle on Alford.
Well, he makes his way to the sideline. Saskatchewan down by a point. Will start this half on their own 31. AJ Oled a couple of steps back to be directly in behind Trevor Harris. And they'll give it to him. Roulette up to about the 35 before being tackled. Garbutt was in there for the Ticats.
By the way, you mentioned that AJ Oled had backed up a couple of yards. That's often for a defender, linebacker, maybe the cover linebacker down there, a pre-snap read that it is a running play.
But just a couple steps and then, yeah.
Because they want more room and a little more time to let that blocking up front set up.
He stands to the right of Trevor here, who's throwing. Gets it away to Emelis. Closed off quickly. Looks like it'll be a first down before he was pushed back. Kyle Wilson, one of the two in there on Emelis.
Yeah, that's when you know you're in that zone where you're running your routes precisely, because Emelis runs past the first down marker knowing he's going to come back to that football on the curl, and when he gets tackled, he is just beyond the sticks.
Talbert assisting Wilson with the tackle there. First down. 6 on the line. They go back to Ouellette. He'll get a couple of yards. Talbert was down there again. It'll be second and about 8 for Saskatchewan.
The extra lineman, when he comes in on those first down plays for the Riders, is taking Sam Emelis out. Come in on second down a couple of times.
That's Emelis. Slot to the left of Harris. And that one is thrown in between 2 receivers. Busby and Emelis both there looking back at their quarterback. And it'll bring up 3rd and 8 for the Riders.
That's where you feel that you're missing a Keon Schaefer-Baker, a guy that's been in that spot for all through training camp. Injured last week, and like maybe Duncan Busby curled the wrong way.
Go Couch averaged just over 42 yards per punt in week 1. Set to kick this away to Isaiah Wooden. Wooden fades under it just outside the 21. Looking for some room. Broke one tackle, but not that last one. He'll be taken down just outside the 40. And we'll dive into that halftime celebration for Garney Henley here in Hamilton when we return on TSN. Welcome back to the Hammer, where we kind of witnessed some history here tonight. Just the 3rd jersey retirement in franchise history for the Ticats. Garney Henley, 26, gets honored.
Bernie Filoni's number 10, Angela Mosca's number 68, the other 2, and no Hamilton Tiger Cat from this day forward will wear number 26. Retired. Garney Henley, who the first word to me that comes to my mind when I think about him on his playing days is versatility. He played both ways and returned kicks.
He did everything.
Like, I know in high school we all kind of played a little both ways, but
Mitchell down the field, and that's going to be intercepted by Milligan. He's got it in midfield, down to the 40, little bit of room, all the way down to the 20, still going to the end zone. Got there. Touchdown Riders. Roland Milligan takes it away from Mitchell and takes it to the house.
little pressure up the middle from A.J. Allen playing for C.J. Avery. A.J. Allen's right here in your screen. He gets a little pressure, and I think it affects the throw from Mitchell. He gets a hit right there, and he can't step into that. Although there was coverage everywhere, and Roland Milligan gets his first of the 25 campaign. A little Garney Henley-ish as he runs back to the end zone.
Yeah, I say Milligan did it all in defense and special teams last year.
Sure did.
For the Riders.
Probably as close as you get to a guy playing, both ways, playing offense, defense, and some teams. In today's football, Roland Milligan, big on the special teams last year, and of course, Defensive Player of the Year.
Come back around to Henley in a little bit, but that was a huge play for the Riders here. They lead by 5, and they line up to go for 2 to make it a 7-point cushion. 64-yard INT return for the touchdown for Milligan. Harris looking for a couple more. A.J. Ouellette back in behind his quarterback. Will they give it to him? No. Harris has a man in the corner. Got it for 2. Drops it in there for Duncan Busby. And the Riders lead by 7.
Well, it was question mark as to whether Roland Milligan could even play tonight. The Riders and their fans are sure glad that the playmaker is out there. It's just a double seam route here with Kenny Lawler and Tim White, but the timing of it is off. And I gotta believe that A.J. Allen's pressure was a problem. Stop it here. See, right here, Tim White's open. If the ball was thrown when he was here, he makes that catch without Roland Milligan in the screen. But Bo holds on to it a little too long, waits it out, and here comes Roland Milligan from the backside. Doesn't even see him coming, and he's gone.
Has some wobble on that one, too, as it was coming in, wasn't it? Levi started the game 12 of 12. Now he sits at 15 of 20 with the TD and the interception. Taken by Wooden again. And he'll return that out just shy of the 40.
So Corey Mace goes for 2 after the Milligan pick 6 because of the missed convert earlier. And a little play action to A.J. Ouellette. That will definitely hold the pass rush. And there's Duncan Busby. And I'm not completely sure if he curled the wrong way on that incompletion on 2nd down. It looked like he did. But if he did, he made up for it there.
Hey, he knew where he had to be. He had to be wide open in the end zone. And that's where they found him. Now can Bo bounce back? He'll start it on the ground. Greg Bell, this will help. And that is very just shy if he's not there already.
DeMarcus Fields, I'm not sure who got the worst of that hit. Greg Bell is solid. I mean, 5'10", 200. But he is solid here. And watch this hit. This is some physicality from the secondary. They both got helicoptered there and both took a second to regroup.
Leatre needing about half a yard, pushes through, he's got it. First down, Ticats.
Nothing settles an offense down better than a good running play. It really does. It gets your offensive line settled in. They can go and be physical. Get a first down and get started. It helps to erase some of the mental demons that happen when you throw an interception or have something happen like happened to Milanovich's group with the pick six.
Hamilton's thrown the ball 20 times. They've ran it just 4. But Bell does have 30 yards on those 4 carries. Mitchell under pressure and taken down. Wow, C.J. Rivas wasted no time getting there.
See Jameer Thurman moving to the line of scrimmage. He wants to occupy a block, and there's Rivas around the edge. Giovanni Robinson basically missed him.
No sacks given up last week by Hamilton. 2 already here tonight. This time the Riders, they send 5. It's complete. Bridges tried to break the tackle, would not work. That's his first catch of the game. He's been quiet, and that'll bring up 3rd down, and they'll have to kick it away.
It's been an interesting strategy from Corey Mace on defense because they're not sending pressure, but they, on 2nd down especially, they are pressuring Bo Levi Mitchell. It's been stunts. A.J. Allen goes on a linebacker stunt. You saw that last play, it was C.J. Rivas' turn. And Hamilton, for the most part, have the numbers to make the blocks they need to make to allow Bo Levi Mitchell to throw it. But they're missing. They're missing some of these stunts.
Alford takes it middle of the field, just inside the 15. Wrapped up by former Bomber Brian Cole. Well, let's pick up the conversation on Garney Henley because some of these numbers just don't make sense.
56 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards receiving, and 59 picks. I mean, this wasn't a guy who occasionally filled in as a receiver when someone got hurt or something. This is a guy who played, and the great story from Garney Henley. I'll get to it in just a sec.
Harris, incomplete.
But when Garney Henley was said to the coach, look, instead of coming off defense, it'd be less running for me to not go to the bench. I'll just go back and catch the punt. And then when he saw him and how good he was as a punt returner, he said, yeah, we'll leave you back there and you might as well return punts rather than come to the bench. There's the 72 team, Angelo Mosca and the Grey Cup champions.
I was reading the article on the Ticats website today, and his numbers and his story, it seems like a fictional character. Like just ridiculous stuff. Harris in trouble. Wow. He'll be taken down. Garbutt was there first, didn't finish him off, but Mario Kendricks has his 2nd sack of the season. Gets the crowd going a bit here in the Hammer.
Down at the bottom in the inside defensive tackle, and he just bowls his way through. He's basically, this is really his 4th game in the CFL. That's his 3rd sack. I mean, is he going to be a sack-a-game guy?
They'll take it. Yeah, 2 games last year with a sack and then a sack
last week. And there's one. So he's got 4 in 4 games now.
That's also the first time Harris has been sacked this season. Great field position looming here for the Ticats. Couch stands in his end zone. Hangs brings this one up there. That's going to come down around the Rider 45. Wooden takes it. He almost got destroyed. He took a big pop, but there's a couple of guys on him there, and a beautiful Saturday evening in Hamilton. Shot ahead of J.J. Spahn and Adam Scott at 300. Vic Hovland still lurking around as well. And the best in the world, Scotty Scheffler, sits 8 shots back. Ticats 7 points back of the Riders right now. Mitchell, that one into the turf in front of Tim White. Bo would want that one back. The crowd here is not happy though.
No, and that one, it looked like Bo just rushed it.
So it'll be a 2nd and 10. Tim White and Kenny Lawler up to his right. Looks in that direction, throws in that direction, gets it there just in time for Lawler. Sales is right on his back, and they will be in field goal range here for Leggio.
Yeah, just a couple of throws. That last one on first down where Bo bounced it off the turf, it just looked like he went with the play action to Greg Bell and then rushed the throw. Missed it by 5-6 yards, and the second one on second down was short by 3.
Leggio, he's made 18 in a row dating back to last season. This one a 38-yard attempt, and that is up, and it is through. We've got a 4-point game on a Saturday night here in Hamilton. Claire Hanna will have more on the star safety of the Ticats, Katsatonis, when we return. Well, he was getting props from Ches at halftime. Had one interception last week, had another one that came back on a penalty. We know he's good on the field, but what about off the field? Let's send it down to Claire Hanna.
Well, Dustin Katsatonis collected his first interception of the season last week, but collecting things is kind of his thing. His dream growing up was always to be on a player trading card, and his fascination with sports memorabilia, well, it really started with his parents, who opened a sports bar in Bakersfield, California. Jimmy and Becky are originally from Edmonton and filled it with sports memorabilia like Gretzky photos, baseball cards, and Katsatonis has kept most of the footballs he's intercepted, including his first pick, which actually against Trevor Harris in the Eastern semifinal back in 2021. He still has the same gloves he wore in that game. And if you guys get a chance, check out his social media, because one of his hobbies is collecting CFL cards, breaking open packs online in the hopes of growing the CFL game and getting more kids to play football in Canada.
Fully support the CFL card movement. And Katsatonis does some great stuff. He's breaking packs on his X account, and he's a good guy to chat with.
Oh, and doesn't look at all like his dad, Jimmy. that picture, I was wondering if I was looking at the safety himself. But what a great start to the year he's had, and this has been building. I mean, Katsatonis at UBC had 18 interceptions. That is a ton of interceptions in a college career.
I was surprised because I was covering that league quite a bit back then. He ended up being a 4th-round pick, a steal in the draft. Flags here as Harris throws far side. That falls incomplete. Oh, might have slipped as well. We'll pick up this call.
Offside. Hamilton, number 95. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Julian Hauser. A little bit too early. Fifth penalty of the evening on the Ticats. Finished with 11 in week 1 against Calgary. Kadeem Carey in the game at running back, standing to the right of Harris. Ticats will send 4. Harris gets it away, and that is caught quickly there by Dante Myers, and it'll be a first down for Saskatchewan as they look to build on this 4-point lead.
Take a look at Dante Myers on the route. There's Moxie. Moxie had that early interception in the first. I think I might have mentioned Jamal Peters having that, but I correct myself now. It was Moxie in the first. But inside leverage.
Harris out into the flats. Duncan Busby, a little bit of a burst. He's wrapped up and held on to by Dozier, just short of another first down.
I was going to say that throw on first down to Myers, the quick recognition of the coverage, you know, that Trevor Harris is facing is one of his superpowers. And one of the keys there was the linebacker snugged the line of scrimmage on that play, and as soon as he did that, Harris knew he had man-to-man.
Tommy Stevens into the game, needing about half a yard, not even. He'll push through, stays on his feet, and gets about 4 or 5. And the Riders will reset just inside the Ticats 45.
Your short yardage quarterback is worth every single penny that you pay him. I mean, get the best short yardage quarterback you can get, and I'm telling you, coaches, that's where they start to turn a little gray. When it's 3rd and 1, especially when they're own end.
A lot of guys across the league who do it very well. Tommy Stevens might be the best. A.J. Ouellette, nice cut. Bounced off one tackle, eventually taken down after a pickup of 4 yards on that first down carry.
Another nice run by A.J. Ouellette as he closes in on his first 100-yard game as a Saskatchewan Roughrider, and that's Kadeem Carey getting his chance. You know, Kadeem Carey on the roster, there's nothing that motivates a player, even a veteran player, more than the guy behind you on the depth chart.
Guy behind you on the depth chart, a 1,000-yard rusher, so lots of motivation for both of these guys. Harris down the middle of the field, that's caught again, and it is Duncan Busby who's having himself a bit of a game. That's his 5th catch of the evening.
Couple of options here for Trevor Harris. He's looking at a zone defense. Watch how quick he recognizes that the linebacker stops. Ray Wilburn stops, doesn't get deep in his drop, and that's why he goes to the next level to Duncan Busby. If that linebacker drops deep, Trevor Harris hits the under route.
Kadeem Carey pushes it ahead, held on to from behind after getting about 4 yards on the first down. Scamper again. Trevor Harris has got to love what he's got at that running back position. Even after Bertrand Houdon last week, it is outstanding performance.
Big game for him, yes. We got a lot of playing time here tonight without the injury in practice.
3 receivers to the right. One of them is Emilus. Harris is going to throw to the left. That is up for grabs. Ooh, heavily going down is Keyshawn Johnson working against Wilborn on the far side of the field. He could not get his feet in bounds.
Keyshawn Johnson straight up on Destin Talbert is open and just pushed out of bounds, but it looked like he was going out of bounds on his own anyway.
Yeah.
Well past that strike.
All right, so Lawther back in here. He's 0 for 2, also missed an extra point. This one from just 25, and that is up, and he'll push it through just inside that left upright. And the Riders restore their lead to 7 with less than a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. A good race tomorrow.
That's a big stop by the Hamilton defense to not give up a major there and make it a 2-possession game. Saskatchewan could have, with a major, done that. Keeps it 1 possession, 7-point game. And big stop by the D.
Hamilton from their 40. Bo fakes the handoff, turns, dumps it off. Litre, first down. Looks for contact, gets some from A.J. Allen, and he's bounced out of bounds after a pickup of 14.
I think this is one of the underrated plays in the game. It is one of those plays where it gets the quarterback's launch point outside of the tackle. He's got the option to look deeper if he wants, run if he wants, or hit the back out of the backfield, in this case the fullback Litre.
Prior to that, they had just 19 yards of offense here in quarter number 3. Maybe that'll get them going. Mitchell gets it away in behind the intended target. Keandre Smith tried to lay out for it, but could not get back in time.
Okay, so here's the second and long situations that Saskatchewan has either come with A.J. Allen, Jameer Thurman, or C.J. Rivas. Again, not blitzes, but more stunts, 5-on-5. And it's given Bo Levi Mitchell some problems.
Thurman's going to come this time, a little extra pressure, but Mitchell gets it away. He's got a first down to the 40 as he goes right back to Keandre Smith, and that'll do it for the first 3 quarters here in Hamilton. And we've got a close one, 17-10. The Riders on the road looking for a 2-0 start to the season. Ticats marching with the ball to start the 4th quarter. Well, settle in. We should have a pretty good 4th quarter coming up. The Riders on the road leading the Ticats 17-10. What's going to be the key here in the 4th?
Well, the numbers are pretty close. When you look at both of those columns, the numbers are close, and it's not a surprise with 2 veteran quarterbacks and Bo Levi Mitchell. Both have had their moments, good and bad at times. But, A.J. Ouellette is 9 yards away from his first 100-yard game as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. And Roland Milligan, 8 interceptions last year, led the league, and in that 3rd quarter had a pick 6 over 60-yarder. I'm wondering when Milligan was going to get going.
You got your answer.
There it is.
Biggest play of the ball game thus far, that Milligan pick 6. He's out there with the Saskatchewan defense as we get ready to roll. Quarter number 4. Thank you very much for joining us tonight here as we wrap up week 2 in the Canadian Football League. Bobbled snap by Mitchell. Grabs it. Throws it deep to Lawler. He's got it to the end zone. They're going to rule him out at the 1. So close.
Mentioned the veteran quarterbacks and the numbers being as close as they are. A veteran quarterback doesn't panic when that happens from the center. It bounces. He already knew the coverage. He knew the coverage. He knew which receiver he wanted to throw to. It was Kenny Lawler, who was in behind Marcus Sales. And as soon as he picked that ball up after taking his eyes off of the coverage, he just slung it out there. 1 yard line.
Litre in to finish the job, pushes it ahead, touchdown Ticats. And Flint, but it's not gonna matter. Litre gets the job done, and the Ticats are within 1. Okay, wait a second here.
Well, it looked like Corey Mace was trying to challenge the Lawler catch.
Okay.
Now, it was a potential score, so it's automatically reviewed from the replay center.
This is interesting. So we have a few things to sort out here in Hamilton. Mace was way out on the field, had his challenge flag, saying that he wanted to challenge it. So he would be looking back and saying Lawler did not haul that in.
Well, they're conferencing on it now, and I'm sure talking to. Well, before the short yardage play, look at Jameer Thurman right in the middle of your screen. I mean, he is pointing that his coach has thrown a challenge flag. He is trying to point to that.
So that's well before the snap.
As a captain of the defense, saying, hey, our coach is challenging the deep throw down to the 1 yard line.
Looks as though Mace is about to get his explanation. Long conference by the officials.
Prior to the last play, Saskatchewan is challenging. The play will be reviewed.
Corey Mace gets his challenge.
So they're going to review the Kenny Lawler catch to the 1 yard line. Now they're just determining exactly what Coach Mace wants to challenge on the play.
Saskatchewan is challenging that the pass was incomplete. The play will be reviewed.
All right, we'll try to get you as many looks as we can on this.
Kenny Lawler looks very confident that it's not a problem.
Okay, here's what they're challenging.
Here's what they're challenging. Was this a catch? Well, I guess the challenge here from Corey Mace is that he's going by the rule that a receiver has got to maintain possession when he goes down. But I think he took 2.5 steps. We'll find out.
The ruling on the field stands as a completed pass. The ball will be placed at the 1 yard line. First down.
Well, here's a little bit of the puzzling part for me is that potential scoring plays are automatically looked at by the
61 reports.
Now, they're not going to, if the ruling was catch and no challenge, they're not going to overturn that automatically, but they're reviewing whether or not Kenny Lawler scored. That's all they're reviewing. So in order to get another look, Mace had to challenge. He had to use his flag.
Litre's done it before. Can he do it again? Pushing in, and he's there. Touchdown, Ticats. This time, it'll count. Do it again.
Same side, same push from the left side of the offensive line. That's where Brandon Revenberg lines up. Right in behind big 57. Twice in a row. That one counted.
Leggio to lock it up at 17. Right down the gut. We've got a good one brewing. Litre evens it up for Hamilton.
So Corey Mace has to challenge this play if he wants to challenge that it was incomplete. The replay center is looking at whether he scored, and I could see Corey Mace making that challenge because in real speed you can see that it looked like he didn't maintain control when he hit the turf. But his feet shows you 3 or 4 steps backwards, spinning, and about 3 yards had gone by before he hit the turf.
Yeah, when he hit the turf, the ball popped loose, but he'd already
been out of bounds, and he'd already catched and secured the ball.
Tied at 17. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started in the hammer. Mario Alford now on their turn. A little bit of a slip just outside the 35. And that is where Trevor Harris will go to work. He's 16 at 24 for 143 yards and an interception.
The offensive weapons on both these teams, I thought it may be a higher scoring game than it is. However, not disappointing. Locked up going into the 4th quarter. 2 veteran quarterbacks that are moving the ball. Lots of weapons out here. What has Trevor Harris got?
Well, does he have that guy? Caught 3 of the 7 targets tonight. Ticats have done a great job on Emelis, but he only has 19 yards. Trying to get him activated here. Harris throwing. He's got it midfield, just as we were saying. Time to get Emelis going, and that's a first down for the Canadian kid.
Nice little slant here from Sam Emelis. Trevor Harris fake to A.J. Ouellette, reads the linebacker. If the linebacker hugs the line of scrimmage, throws it behind him, right to Emelis.
From midfield, tied at 17. Ticats bring some heat. Ouellette picks it up. Harris down the field, lays it out there. And Myers, does he have it? Looks like he did. And the conversation continues.
The ruling on the field is a catch. First down.
And what a catch.
What a catch. The left toe. Drags the left toe right there. And you only need one. What a catch. Different than Kenny Lawler's in the first half. Equally as impressive.
Fabulous footwork, keeping that left toe down.
And maintaining possession when you hit the turf, too.
And now Milanovic.
Hamilton is challenging that there was no catch on the play. The play will be reviewed.
This will give us a chance to get a few more looks at what I think was a spectacular catch, but maybe not. We'll find out when we return. Here's another look. What do you think, Suits?
Yeah, it's a catch.
The ruling on the field stands. Hamilton will be trying.
All right, you heard them announce it. The ruling on the field stands. And just excellent work.
Yeah,
Myers, that was an outstanding
ruling on the
catch.
field stands. Hamilton will be charged a team timeout.
So both coaches use their challenges. Both lose the challenges on catches.
When it's all said and done, Riders just outside the 30. End zone shot up for grabs. Incomplete. Looking for Keyshawn Johnson. Katsatonis had come across, and Talbert was there as well.
Well,
how close was that?
I'm wondering if Katsatonis came across and didn't allow Keyshawn Johnson to double clutch this and come down with it. Because here's the one-on-one on Talbot. And then it's a jump ball, and it looked like Keyshawn Johnson was going to be able to reel it in, but Katsatonis tipped it past him. Hustle to the ball. You never know how you can affect the play. If it's down there and popped out, Keyshawn Johnson may have a chance.
He's been all over the place tonight. That one up for grabs. Katsatonis
again
was there again, working against Picton.
Great confidence confidence to not bail out and always, especially after a deep play to the end zone. This time he sees the Picton in the curl and he jumps it. It looked like to me that Katsatonis had deep middle as a responsibility, but is confident enough to say, hey, it's open, I see the play, I see the curl route, I'm jumping it. Another knockdown.
Lawther. 40-yard attempt. That one is up. And this time it's good. Saskatchewan on top. CFL will be back Thursday night football as the Alouettes, great start to the season, will head to Edmonton to face the Elks coming off a bye week in week 2. Coverage gets underway at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on TSN. Back and forth affair early in the fourth quarter. Bo Levi Mitchell at 252 yards, had a 300-yarder last week. Over the middle, wide open but too high for Tim White. Could not haul it in.
The route of Tim White. Sit down in front of the DBs. Got to catch that one.
Oh, he's got to have that one, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Three to the left, three to the right for Mitchell. Time in the pocket. Down the field, wide open. Who else? It's Kenny Lawler. He's got it again. Gotta cover that guy. 5th catch of the game for Lawler. He's at 128 yards receiving.
Change motion from the back. Lawler outside. And he's just going to go right down the rail. And watch how Bo Levi Mitchell's touch on the ball slows him down a little bit. He doesn't want to run him into the deep coverage, so he slows him down in between Nelson Lacombo and the underneath coverage.
Kenny Lawler looking like a very nice fit in this Hamilton offense. Mitchell dumps it off to his running back, Bell. Steps out as a Saskatchewan 24. Second and medium here for the home side.
Field goal range, chip shot field goal range for Hamilton right now.
They'll spread things out on the offense again.
Big night for Lawler.
Kenny Lawler at the top of your screen. Mitchell looks to his right, dumps it off, and Lawler got turned around, couldn't get his hands to haul that one in, and you see the look of disappointment on his face that he found a little bit of room in that defense.
Yeah, he did. He was open. There's Lawler there, but watch the room that Bo Levi Mitchell ends up having, and I think that's why the disappointment, because Lawler's kind of drifting away. He's drifting to the sideline, and the ball's thrown a little bit inside, but Bo doesn't run often. But he had at least 7 or 8 yards before he got close to a tackler. And they only needed 6.
Leggio for the tie. Makes no mistake. And we are locked at 20 with just over 10 to play on TSN. A great game between the Riders and the Ticats. Well, let's flash it back to about 1 year ago today. What a finish we had here in Hamilton.
I think Hamilton had a 2-score lead deep into that game. Riders came all the way back, got the win for Corey Mace. Scored 10 points in the final 3 minutes of that one to steal the win here in Hamilton.
Keyshawn Johnson finds it, took a look, found some space down inside the 50, and eventually forced out of bounds at what looks to be the Hamilton 42.
Keyshawn Johnson has enough time here to turn around and take a look, and he's going to get a block. I believe it's Sam Emlis that helps him out. There's Keyshawn. He turns to the outside. There's the block that just flashed in front of you. And that gave him that extra yards after the catch to the sideline.
Puts Trevor Harris over 200 yards in the game. More through the air than on the ground in the second half for Saskatchewan. They'll go there now. A.J. Ouellette, tough to take down, but eventually they do after a pickup of a couple yards. It gives him 93. 81 at the half.
I was going to say, Hamilton D's figured out the run, or because of the way this game is unfolded, Trevor Harris is going to different things based on the defense he sees in front of him. So Coach Mueller changing things up a little bit.
Harris gets this one away again. Cut nicely by Johnson. Tackled from behind by Talbert, but it's a first down, and the Riders march on.
This is a completion percentage throw from Trevor Harris. This is why his completion percentage is through the roof all time. Because he is so accurate on this throw. The defender on the inside shoulder is Talbert, and he throws it not just to Johnson, but to the outside shoulder of Johnson so he can spin out of that.
70.8% in his career. Takes the handoff, guns it back into Johnson that time, down to the 15. Give him another first down.
And when you're releasing the ball that quickly, it's okay if you've got an offensive line that you've had to shift around and make some moves on because of injuries. If you're throwing it that quickly, the pass rush is not going to get there anyway.
Fifth tackle of the night for Talbert defensively for the Ticats. Hamilton brings some heat. Harris gets it away again. Looking back to Johnson. Talbert was there again, and this time it's the Ticats who win that battle.
Mentioned the changes on the O-line. Daniel Johnson playing out there at left corner and getting the start. That's something that Scott Milenovich, of course, or Brett Monson, I should say, the defensive coordinator, can game plan against. But again, I'll say it one more time. If we don't talk about the offensive line, it's probably because they're playing really well. And that's not fair in a lot of ways, but
they don't want us talking about them.
Yeah,
that's okay.
You're right.
Ticats bring a bunch. Harris gets it away. End zone shot hauled in. Keyshawn Johnson. Oh, they're going to rule him out at the 1. Oh, to get another look at this one.
Boy, that was well protected, speaking of O-line, because that was full blitz from Hamilton, and Trevor Harris had to wait a split second to get Johnson open on the out.
Play is under review.
That's a touchdown.
Let's take another look at it. We'll see if we can show you some other angles, but the ball is the important part. If the ball is across the plane, yeah, well... Every score is reviewed automatically. It did look like on that second look the ball was across the plane.
It looked to me like it was originally from way up here.
The ruling on the field has been overturned. Yeah. Touchdown.
Keyshawn Johnson finishes what was basically his drive. Yeah. Outstanding drive from Johnson. He's up to 95 yards now.
Nice running after the catch on that early play in the drive. Got a block from Emlis to help him out there, but that was the Keyshawn Johnson drive. And how about the accuracy of Trevor Harris?
Johnson caught all 4 passes on that drive for 69 yards. They were all to him. They got them all. Father for a 7-point lead. But this thing is far from finished.
Keyshawn Johnson lines up inside here. He's at the inside slot back position. He's going to run the deep out. And the reason that Talbot is playing outside leverage, outside shade, is because there's no safety. Katsatonis is up in the line, so he doesn't have safety help in the middle, so he's playing that inside shoulder, and that's why the out route, Keyshawn Johnson has leverage. Now, all he needs from there is an accurate throw from his quarterback, and he gets it.
5 touchdowns last year for Keyshawn Johnson. You just 12 games.
You just have to, as a DB with this much space, you have to play leverage inside if you don't have safety help. And that puts Talbot in a tough position on an out route.
I am excited to see what Bo Levi has in store for the Ticats next drive. This return brought back up the field by Moxie, and he stopped just shy of the 40. Bo Levi 2 yards away from 300 in this game, has Kenny Lawler having a huge night. This is going to be a great finish.
Well, and remember, if he gets the win, he'll be the fastest quarterback in CFL history to get to 100 wins as a starter. Got some work to do.
He's 22 of 31. Has Greg Bell in there. He's only carried the ball 4 times tonight. Bo will be throwing here. Down the field. Lawler comes back to it, and he's got it again. Kenny Lawler on a perfect pass from Bo Levi Mitchell.
Now we're seeing the 2 veteran quarterbacks starting to show off.
Yes, we are.
They're starting to show off. That's another great throw. Flick of the wrist. Not a lot of room to fit that in there. And over top of Sales, just in front of Roland Milligan for the completion.
150-yard game for Lawler. Hopefully you had him in your fantasy lineup this week. Mitchell out into the flat this time. It's Lawler again. Bit of a stumble. And then C.J. Rivas will finish him off. He's over 300 for the 50th time in his career.
That's a milestone right there.
Not a bad one, eh?
50 times.
Second time this year, after having a career high in passing yards last year. 2nd and 2 from the 48. This time they'll hand it off. Bell finds some space. Did you see that cut? Greg Bell teleported to his right and then takes it down inside the 35.
It really looked like he did teleport, didn't it? Quick feet from Greg Bell. Got Litre inside. He kicks out. Look at that cut. Right on Jameer Thurman. Bounces outside. Liam Dobson hadn't tied up, but that was some kind of cut. Wow.
From the Rider 32, Mitchell dumps it off over the head of Smith. And that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Big down right here. Does Scott Milenovich, if it's an incompletion here.
What are you doing?
I'm taking 3. There's
not me.
5 minutes left.
I know.
You could get 4 or 5 possessions in that amount of time.
Yeah, but you could go for 7 now, yeah? See what they dial up here. 2nd and 10. Riders bring almost everybody. That one's thrown out, and it's incomplete. Was looking for Bridges, but that pocket closed quickly on Bo. And we will see Leggio step onto the field.
It closed quickly because of Jameer Thurman and the A-gap blitz. Now this time it wasn't Greg Bell missing him. Greg Bell had to get on the outside to A.J. Allen. He was the first threat. So he steps outside to Allen, and that left Jameer free up the middle.
Like Bo was looking for a hit to his head. Not going to get it. Leggio steps up 2 for 2. This one is longest of the night. Just inside 40. And that one goes where it needs to be. And we've got a 4-point game. Time for the Ticats defense to step up and get this ball back.
Well, they got a new defensive coordinator this year, and Brent Monson. He's back home. This is his stomping grounds and his comfort zone. So what has he got dialed up for Trevor Harris? Because it's almost to pick your poison with these veteran quarterbacks, but does he go with pressure and start to send even 1 or 2 from the secondary? Trevor Harris only been sacked once so far tonight. I think once all year.
Once all year. He wasn't sacked last week. Can they keep him clean here? They lead 27-23. He's throwing right back to Keyshawn Johnson. Why not? That's a 100-yard game for number 3 in green and white.
They're playing trips to the wide side of the field, and Keyshawn Johnson is the number 2 receiver, and he's just finding a hole up in front of Deshaun Amos there. But Brent Monson, in order to try to take away Keyshawn Johnson alone, he's going to have to get a DB up in his face, right on the line of scrimmage, play a little press man. It's tough.
Johnson's been targeted 10 times in this game. Now they go to Myers, and he's going to be stopped about a yard shy of another first down for the Riders. If you're Hamilton, hold them to a field goal here and get the ball back.
That nice shot of that throwing lane for Trevor Harris. Tough to throw an inside slant when the linemen are clogging it up. You have to throw it over them.
Tommy time again here for the Riders as Stevens steps up under center, pushes it ahead, and more than enough. I mean, every time he does that, it's
well, he gets
3 to 4 yards.
He gets 3 or 4. Yeah.
One possession game, surprise, surprise, between the Riders and Ticats. All right, let's look ahead to our Week 3 schedule. Thursday night football in Edmonton as the Alouettes 2-0 roll into town. The Riders staying out east. They'll get Toronto. Calgary is home, looking to go to 3-0 with the Red Blacks rolling in. And then Winnipeg and BC in a rematch of the Thursday night game from this week. That'll wrap up Week 3. But Week 2, dare I say, far from over with 2 minutes, 35 seconds and the clock ticking here in the Hammer. Trevor Harris closing in on a 300-yard game of his own. He's at 278. First and 10 from the Hamilton 42. They'll give it to Ouellette. Tried to hurdle over one defender, but a tackle made by Casey Sales.
It just marks where Keyshawn Johnson lined up, because for the last 2 drives, he has been the primary target. Hamilton defense giving him lots of room. That time he was to the wide field. They went with a running play.
Timeout, Hamilton.
Hamilton's going to burn their timeout here.
Well, everybody watching already knows it, but I'll say it anyway. This is a massive play right here. 2nd and 7. Hold them to a pretty long field goal here on a night where Lawther hasn't, and he would probably admit this, hasn't been at his best.
No, but he keeps it 1 possession with giving Bo Levi Mitchell time. This is the game on 2nd and 7.
Empty backfield for Harris. Ouellette is in the slot to his left. 6 6 on the line for the Ticats. They'll only send 3. Harris looking down the field, can't find anything, wants to take off, still scrambling around. Now he'll throw, and he's got Keyshawn Johnson who hauls it in just inside the 30. First down, Riders. Trevor Harris bouncing around in the pocket, finally finds his go-to target tonight.
Well, defensively, Brent Monson goes with a zone look, and I think that may have surprised Trevor Harris, was saying something because of his experience, but he scrambles around, and Keyshawn Johnson in the last 2-3 series, this is the scramble rules. If you're an intermediate curl guy, find a hole, find a spot that's open, give your quarterback a target. He does and moves the chains. That's going to eat up another minute at least.
Back to Ouellette. And he'll be stopped just shy of the 25 with 1:38 on the clock. Well, Levi hoping to get this ball back and be within 7.
But the clock starts now because Scott Milanovic used his timeout in the last one.
He only had the one left because of the challenge from earlier.
Exactly.
Second and 9. Can they find 9 more? Harris throwing, and that is caught, but it's about 3 yards short of the first down. Into the hands of Myers. And Lawther will trot out here to try to restore a 7-point cushion.
Yeah, and the Riders will take their time kicking this field goal because they want to try to drain the clock as much as they can before they snap the ball here. See the 20-second clock below the time.
2 for 4 so far tonight. This a 29-yarder from just inside that left hash. It is up, and that is wide. He's missed it again. Oh, no. What a tough night for Lawther. And the lead will be 5 instead of 7. 6 would win it for the Ticats.
Brett Lawther has been fighting it all night, and the hold looks clean. Yeah, there was nothing wrong with the hold or the snap. He just missed it, and that was...
He's missed an extra point and 3 field goals tonight, or this game would already be over.
Yeah.
50 seconds to see if Mitchell's got some magic in him tonight here at home, looking for his 100th career victory. Steps up, heaves one down the field. Tim White waiting, almost intercepted, but it falls incomplete. That was some spectacular drama there. Campbell may have got a hand on it.
Tavon Campbell almost one-handed that. Coverage all around the intended target, Tim White. DeMarcus Fields is there. He's on the inside. And, Nelson Lacombo. And there's Tavon Campbell, who almost one-hands that.
Bo Levi was looking for it all right there. Where's Kenny Lawler? He's at the top of your screen. 2nd and 10. Out to Greg Bell. Turn, first down and out of bounds at the 51 with 34 seconds on the clock.
There's a guy just looking at his defense saying, come on, guys. You got my back, right?
He's won 99 games. 24 of them have included a game-winning drive. 3 options to his left. Riders send 4. Mitchell steps up in the pocket again. Out into the flats. And Kenny Lawler wrapped up immediately by Sales with 28 seconds on the clock. Looked like Bo wanted to go deep again there when he climbed the pocket.
Yeah, he did. And then when he changed his mind at the last second, he threw it out there to the left to Lawler that brought him back so he couldn't get out of bounds.
2nd and 6. Clock ticks here in the hammer. Mitchell gets it away. Incomplete. 18 seconds. Now 17 on the clock.
And down to one play. Could probably squeeze 3 plays out in 17 seconds.
To get the first down here.
But you have to get the first down here, and that's an intermediate route. That's going to take 5.
Riders defense looking to seal away a 2-0 start. Empty backfield for Mitchell. High snap. Pulls it in. Gets it away. Broken up. A.J. Allen getting the start here tonight. And he seals away victory with the pass breakup. And the Riders will survive in Hamilton.
And nobody's happier than Brett Lowther. His defense comes up big, and that's a great play by A.J. Allen. And what a great story. A guy who has paid his dues. We talked to Corey Mace about A.J. Allen this week getting the start. A guy who paid his dues on the special teams. Got times to play in the linebacking core, different times throughout the season, but never really got a lot of starts. And he gets one tonight and makes the big play of the game to end it.
And Trevor Harris will make Bo Levi Mitchell wait a little bit longer for victory 100. These two quarterbacks tonight combined for over 600 passing yards between the two of them.
Well, how about the fourth quarter with Keyshawn Johnson?
Monster game, 124 yards, 8 catches and a touchdown. And Saskatchewan claims victory. That'll make a bunch of people in green here in Hamilton happy who made the trip out. What a game, though. This is fun stuff.
Yeah, a lot going on. 2 veteran quarterbacks that really dialed in the second half. But that combination of Trevor Harris and Keyshawn Johnson bailed out their kicker.
Yeah, not a night that Lowther will ever want to remember. Missing 3 field goals and an extra point, and watching from the sideline as his defense bailed him out tonight. Bo Levi Mitchell, 2 300-yard games to start the season, but it's 2 losses despite that spectacular effort from Kenny Lawler. Strong second half from the Riders, and they improve to 2-0. Up next for them, they'll be in Toronto to face the Argos. Ticats head to a bye week, winless. That'll do it from the Hammer. Thank you for joining us. Sports Center is next.
As we say goodbye to week 2 in the CFL, and hello and good evening to SportsCenter. Mark Rowe, Laura Dyken here with you. Lots to get to. A very packed day in the world of sports. Of course, we've got the U.S. Open, the Canadian Grand Prix qualifying in Montreal, some hockey game going on in Edmonton between the Oilers and the Panthers. But of course, we're going to start with the game you were just watching here. And these teams met last year in week 2 as well, with the Riders coming out on top. The Cats looking for a little revenge here this time around.
Yeah, and some similarities, a close game and also disappointment for the Ticats early on in the season. They just year after year just dig themselves into a hole, and it's only 2 games so far, but so close and yet so far. The home opener for the Ticats, Bo Levi Mitchell, looking to become the fastest quarterback to 100 wins in this one, facing second and long in the first.
Mitchell, time, down the field. Lawler up, and he gets it. Are you kidding me? Kenny Lawler, you're ridiculous.
His new weapon, Kenny Lawler, elevating and hauling it in despite the big hit. 27 of his 47 yards in the first half, and then later in the drive, it's Mitchell throws it through the uprights to a very familiar target in Tim White. That's a 9-yard score. It was the Ticats out in front, 7-0 to the thirds. Now 7-6 Hamilton. Off play action. Mitchell floats it over the middle. Roland Milligan picks it off and has room to run. He takes it all the way to the house. 64-yard pick six. Roughriders win for 2 to go up by 7. Now the Ticats still down 7 in the fourth. It's Mitchell who drops the snap, gathers, goes downfield, And once again, it's Lawler who brings it down. A 39-yard pickup sets Hamilton on the goal line. Ante Milovic-Litre punches it in to tie it. Then down 3, it's Mitchell looking deep again. Lawler with another big grab, this time for 42 yards, sets up another field goal to make it 20-all. Next Saskatchewan drive, Trevor Harris drops back. Keyshawn Johnson makes the catch for the touchdown. Harris up to 253 yards in the game. 4 straight scoring drives, and the Riders are up by 7. 7 minutes to go. Mitchell gets it to Lawler on the comeback route. His 7th catch. That drive sets up a 39-yard field goal for Mark Leggio to cut the deficit to 4, but that's as close as they would get as the Roughriders improve to 2-0. Hamilton 0-2 after this loss. Trevor Harris extending his winning streak to 6 games, the longest in his CFL career as a starter. Saskatchewan has now won 11 of its last 14 meetings against Hamilton. And new on SC, let's hear now from Keyshawn Johnson.
Keyshawn, first of all, you guys start this season 2-0. How does that feel?
You know, it feels good. Just us, you know what I mean, coming out here working as a team, and you know what I mean, our work showing off what we put in each week.
And you had a tremendous game, 124 yards, a touchdown. How did you and Trevor Harris find so much chemistry, especially in the latter half of this game?
Like I said, it work at practice. That's we do it at practice, so we try to translate it to the game. And you know, it could be any one of us any day. Any receiver in our room can make these type of plays.
When you started feeling though that chemistry, were you asking for the ball more?
Oh, 100%. You know, when a receiver get in the groove, you obviously want to keep coming back to him.
And also for Trevor Harris, your quarterback, this is his 6th straight win. His first time doing that in his CFL career. What can you say about him?
Man, he's in the building all day. That's what I can say. He's in the building all day. He wants it. He's a guy that, you know, he's going to know what the defense is doing each week, and, you know what I mean, help the receivers and help the whole team.
And Keyshawn, for you, your 2nd year in the CFL with the Riders, just how comfortable are you feeling?
Man, I'm trying to get more comfortable. That's the goal, you know, each week, to learn more and more and more about each team, each opponent. You know what I mean, go out there and have a good game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the man throwing him the ball is Trevor Harris, who's new on SC.
Trevor, this game was so close at the half. What changed in the second half?
Yeah, they had a great plan. They mixed up a lot of looks and did a really good job of, you know, getting us to, you know, get off our spot and move on to progressions and taking away our primaries. And we just were able to make some good adjustments because we have a great offensive coordinator. And Keyshawn had a hot hand, I think. I think he maybe had 50 catches tonight. So good for him. And really excited just to come away with a win, because early in the season, everybody's going to be a different team toward the end of the season. So early in the season, our identity is what it is. But toward the end of the year, we're going to become who we want to be. But finding ways to win is the most important thing right now. And the fact that we're able to do that when we didn't play well speaks a testament to this team's belief in one another.
Let's talk a little bit more about Keyshawn's hot hand, as you put it. You put a lot of trust in him at the end of this game. Just where was that chemistry working?
Well, he has very strong hands, and he understands leverage and understands how to cut off DBs. And the way that they were playing us, they were able to kind of give us lanes, and then they started tightening up on it. And Keyshawn was able to still cut him off, and I was able to kind of put it on his back shoulder, and he was able to strong hands catch it. And he just did a tremendous job. And then on the cover 0, probably shouldn't have thrown that because I should throw something underneath, but I figured if I could drift him by just buy a little bit of time and put it in the corner of the end zone, he'd be able to track it, and he did, and he made a great play.
Trevor, you've been in this league for over a decade, and this is the first time that you've got 6 wins in a row. What rhythm have you been getting into recently?
I guess if we don't count the West final, it's a credit to our team. We have a tremendous offensive coordinator. We've got a lot of belief in one another. And like I said, we'll be a way better team toward the end of the year, but the fact that we're finding ways to win when we don't quite have our best is a great sign. But, you know, toward the end of the game, when our best was needed and best required, we were able to kind of put drives together. And, you know, it's just a testament, like I said, Mark Mueller, tremendous offensive coordinator, future head coach, Corey Mace, just driving a great culture here, and guys that believe in one another.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
Their home opener today, the Argos as well. And look who's in the house. Yes, the defending champs getting their campaign started against the Stamps. The Argos unveiled their new banner in a ceremony before this one got underway. Fans receiving replica rings as well. But bad news for the Stamps. This is the opening drive, and Reggie Begelton is taken down, helped off the field, as you can see. The 3-time All-CFL receiver watched the rest of the game on crutches, and he will be examined over the next 2 days. Doesn't look good. Argos down 3-1 here in the second. Nick Arbuckle airing it out.
Tiger Cats, Arbuckle throws this one up, intercepted. Adrian Green, house call. Touchdown Stamps.
Airing it out to the other team. Arbuckle getting a second start of the season with Chad Kelly still out. Pick 6 to Adrian Green, one of his 2 interceptions for Green in the first half. 9-4 Calgary your score at the break. And despite getting the win last week, Vernon Adams Jr. held without a touchdown in his Calgary debut. It's now 12-8. We're in the fourth quarter. Little flea flicker. And it's Dominic Rhymes coming up with the ball, but he is short of the goal line. So Adams still looking for his first Stamps touchdown. Calgary, though, would punch it in on the next play. So it's now 19-11 your score later in the quarter. And Adams decides, I'm going to do it myself, guys. And there it is. His first score with Calgary comes on the ground via the legs. Stamps extending that lead. It's now up to 15. But the defending champs not going away quietly. Just over 5 minutes to go in regulation. Arbuckle finds DeMonte Coxie, bounces off a body, stays on his legs, got a nice move there, and he is rewarded with the touchdown. The 2-point conversion was good, so the Argos back within a touchdown. 2.5 minutes to go. Stamps with the ball, looking to ice this one, and it's Adams lobbing it up for the Canadian Jalen Philpott. Calgary kicked a field goal to seal it. Adams had over 300 yards passing as Calgary 2-0 on the season.
It feels great. Like you said, it's like my 10th year. It's my first win in Toronto, and so it feels great.
Will this be a critical week to figure out whether or not Chad can go?
Yeah, we'll see. 6-day week. I probably would say probably another week, just based off what I seen last week. But we'll get him out there. We'll see. But I told him this morning when we were talking, I said, look, I'm not going to put you out there unless you can, your mobility's there to protect yourself. So once I feel like he can use his legs and avoid contact, then we'll get him out there.
So good news, bad news for the Stamps. They get the win, but could be a huge loss for Calgary if Begelton is out for an extended period of time. He had 1 catch prior to leaving today's game, extending his streak to 72 consecutive games with a reception. That's tied with Winnipeg's Nick Dembski for the longest active streak in the CFL. All right, with more on this doubleheader Saturday, let's say hello now to Catherine Burness and the panel.
And alongside Enoch Wamba and Davis Sanchez, and let us begin with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And Trevor Harris, just so efficient in this game. And you look at Bo Levi Mitchell's numbers, and he was over 300 once again, but for Trevor it was 295. And Chezzy, it was just so efficient. And while Bo was making the huge plays, Trevor was making smaller plays, but definitely more efficient in the end.
Yeah, masterclass from Trevor Harris. So much of football, especially at the quarterback position, comes between the ears. And Trevor manipulating that defense. You saw play action to A.J. Ouellette, which was influencing the linebackers, and then he got the one-on-ones with Keyshawn Johnson on that last drive, and Keyshawn Johnson said, throw me the damn ball, give me the damn ball, whatever Keyshawn Johnson says, but it was him. 4 for 4 on that final drive. He got the matchup he wanted every time. Brett Monson, I thought, did a pretty good job. He didn't know what to do. He tried to play man. They were carving it up. They went zone. They found the holes, and then finally, at the end, he just said, forget it. I'm blitzing everybody and play cover 0, and Trevor, as accurate of a passer he is, it's really difficult to play cover 0 against Trevor. And then again, on this one here, he bought time. This one, he rushed 3, just trying to do whatever he could to get Trevor off his spot, but was impossible. That was a big difference for me. I thought Hamilton, Bo, they made plays. He had 335 yards, but everything seemed difficult. Either missed throws, drop catches, or acrobatic plays from Kenny Lawler. That was the difference. Difficult stuff from Hamilton, and Trevor just really precise, and they executed well.
And you hear Keyshawn Johnson talk about his quarterback. He said he's in the building, he works hard, he knows defenses, and we know that. And he is extremely accurate. So when he gets on the field, having a running back and the type of running game that A.J. Ouellette had tonight, it makes the game plan that much more impactful, right? You talk about Mueller, yes, you can call the plays, but if you don't have the execution on the field and you don't have the type of runs that A.J. Ouellette had tonight, it makes it hard to have the play-action passes that you're talking about. And so the ability to have a guy like A.J. Ouellette right now get the ball and start running downhill the way that he did tonight, man, it's going to go a long way. And he did all the work in the first half, and finally when it came down the stretch of the game, right, it was back and forth the whole game, but when it came down to it, Trevor Harris recognized the defense, was on the same page as Keyshawn Johnson. Even though Emerson was on the sideline, he was able to be impactful and over, ultimately win the game.
And for the early game, let's give props to Jalen Philpott. We talk enough about Tyson Philpott, 117 receiving yards. That's a career high from him.
Ballin'.
And he was great in this one.
Hey, we've been talking about his brother all year long last year. And this year, Jalen said, don't forget about me. And tonight,
hold my beer.
He stepped up. And especially with the fact that they lost one of their best players, the guy that's been around forever for this, the Calgary Stampeders, in Reggie Beggleton. Jalen Philpott is trying to make a name for himself, and this is how you do it. You come in, you make the hard catches, and you become reliable for your quarterback. And I guarantee you going forward right now, Vernon Adams is going to continue to look forward to him. And so, look, Reggie Beggleton is down, but this gives an opportunity for guys like Rhymes, Alford, Barnes, and obviously Philpott tonight, who took advantage of his time and his opportunity. Going forward, you got to continue to be reliable.
The Argos 0-2. When are they getting their quarterback? That was the question. They just didn't seem. I'm not ready to write off this Argos team yet because I don't think we've seen even close to their full potential. They weren't aggressive enough as of an offense yet. So we'll see when Chad gets back with this offense, if he's coming back soon, what this offense looks like. But they got to be aggressive, get those playmakers the ball down the field, and give this defense a chance to play and compete.
And Nick really struggled in this one. I mean, the sooner the better for Chad Kelly, but overall, a great week 2 in the CFL as we send it back to SportsCenter.